Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give you praises and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Blessings into the hopeful and sincere elect, man. The Pakwaya Kodash, the holy elect in and around the four winds of the earth. You know, it's GMS London out here once again to prophesy the downfall of Babylon the Great, man. Shelling down the beast, as brothers used to say back in the day. Shelling down Babylon, man. That's what we're here to do. Jeremiah 28 and 8. Start from there, because that's what the main occupation, the vocation that we've been called to do, man. You know, when you go to Ephesians, the 4th chapter, it tells you about presenting yourselves worthy of the vocation that you've been called to do. The word vocation means doing this work, going out there pushing this word, man. You know, being an ambassador for the Lord, because we're heralds for the second coming of Yahweh Shai, man. That's why we're out here, just like the previous prophets of old, John the Baptist, all the 12. You know, Apostle Paul and all that, which is part of the 12, you know, they were men that went out there on the highways and byways and put themselves on the line for the Lord, man, presenting themselves as a living sacrifice. Even though the Apostle Gabar went into that word sacrifice last night, and it means to make holy, or to do holy. Sacrifice in the Hebrew is a buck. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, HOI, but you know, the buck means sacrifice in the Hebrew, man, to make holy. Well, how are we making ourselves holy? By doing this work, man, presenting ourselves as a living sacrifice for this work. Lord's willing, we reap the rewards in the end. And we're all fighting for the same penny, you know, which is the kingdom of heaven, man. Start with that.
Yep. Says Jeremiah 28 and 8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, war and of evil and of pestilence.
Yeah, and that's the times that we're in. That's why the Lord said, to measure down the times diligently in itself. Because what time are we in now? We're in a time of some major wars, man. Wars and rumors of wars and commotions, you know, the back and forth between Russia, Ukraine, NATO and the EU headed by America, you know, trying to infiltrate the land of Russia right now for Ukraine. You know, those are major scenes of actions of war, man. And they actually got boots on the ground. They're sending drones and all these different things back and forth. So the war's already basically started, but it's not the hot war yet. It's not the hotbed of war where the multitudes and multitudes are going to be gathered over there in the Middle East. That's where the hotbed of war is going to take place, World War III.
Because what happens is you get whenever you check all the wars, right, it usually starts off with sanctions.
Yep.
Right. Starts off with proxy wars. Right. So we've had sanctions, right?
Yeah. Sanction on Iran.
Iran, right? Like they sanctioned Iran, they sanctioned Russia. Yeah. Russia. And so think about it, right? If you look at old school war, right, where guys are coming on the horses and that, what are you going to do? You're going to cut off the supply first thing you do. Right, so when you stop sending, starve them out. So when you're watching the news and they're saying, look, we're going to cut the gas supplies,
blow up pipelines.
Yeah. You got a situation where really like the army's outside the city walls.
Yeah.
And your supply line's being cut off. Yeah, right. That's the stage towards war that we're at. We're in the stage of war where they're cutting off supply lines, global food supply. With that. So we're what's door, man.
Yeah, we're definitely even at the door. Scripture says that, even at the door. But yet it's not by and by. Why? Because there's one major last prophecy left. We made reading two. Yeah? You got the mark of the beast, the MOT to the B, Jacob's trouble, man. That has to be instituted first. The MOT to the B has to be instituted before World War III kicks off. That's why the Lord ain't sealed the deal yet, so to speak. And the elect are still being sealed, if they haven't been sealed totally already, because the angels are still holding back the four winds. Yeah? So there's still brethren out there that still need to, man, to this truth. Yeah, to be activated, you know, and they are, you know, brothers are waking up. That's why Esau is doing damage control right now, even through like guys like Kanye the Mess West. He's using him as a psyop to basically demonize this truth. You know, they use celebs to basically demonize this truth and make it look like we're some bigot, like terrorists, some, you know, some misogynist, whatever you want to, toxic, whatever you want to call it. They're going to put those hit names on us to, you know, demonize us and demonize this truth, because they don't want the world to know that they're not the real Jews, man. They're not the true people of the Lord. But the cat's already out the bag. The truth's already out. Oh. Now these devils are doing damage control, man. Go ahead.
There was a bit of information. I think it was like Kyrie Irving or something like that.
Recently.
Yeah, where he's saying basically, those small hats. I know he was saying about the ships. And that's
Same thing.
and that's documented history. And they were trying to basically get on him for telling documenting someone was basically pointing out that we white people had the ships. It's sort of like, oh yeah, it's fucked up. But when you say the small hats had the ships, all of a sudden it's a problem.
Let me get a quick piece up of it. Revelations 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice in the heaven saying salvation. So you read the scriptures from the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, all of these scriptures, right? Right, speaking about the destruction. And when you see the destruction, what do you see hand in hand with the destruction? The salvation of the children of Israel. Balance. It's a balance. So it says here, and the strength and the kingdom of the Most High and power of Yahweh outside, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. This guy likes the word here, accuser, is categoreo. He likes to put boxes, man.
Categorize.
He likes to categorize things, right?
That's perfect word.
He likes to categorize. In categorizing things, he can push out a narrative that, oh, no, you're in the category.
Done.
You ain't got no nationality. You're just in that category. And anytime you try to pop your head outside the category, on the head, you get the knock on the head. See, but that's why the person, it says what the Most High was going to take great cash over all the people. That's why the Most High sent his prophets out here within the last day to turn the hearts of the people back onto the heavenly Father Yahweh outside, man. To come out of the category, man.
To reveal the truth. To reveal the truth. 2 Ezra 6 and 26, I think. The light shall be quenched. The seat shall be quenched. Because that's what's happening now. That's why even the celebs are coming out with the wood and stuff, coming out and just revealing this truth. They're compelling everyone to that this is the truth, man. There is no other truth out there, man. There's only one, and it starts from the scriptures, man. You even got like Nigerians now, Congolese, and over there in West Africa burning churches and seeds.
Right, that's right. I mean,
and that was burning them, man.
And that was a major stronghold, man.
Yeah,
that was a major stronghold.
That was like one of the main plots of land where Jake was indoctrinated to believe white Jesus, man.
Yep.
And now they're fed up. He was like coming out. The nigga woman, she's usually advocated for the chief, man. They're like buddy and powers. They're best friends to the end. She was cursing the devil out. Like, you take this white Jesus image of burning, lied to us, you stole us Christianity, his lies. Then they started burning the scriptures, which they're going off for that. You're not supposed to burn the scriptures. The scriptures is our book. But you're supposed to burn those. It's our history, man. You're supposed to burn those false images and false idols. All them crosses that them people renovating them churches, you're supposed to burn that. All them false images of the Lord looking like a soulful white man, you're supposed to burn that. And they was doing that. So Jake's waking up, man. So these devils, they think they can try and quell it, try and demonize us, but the more they do, the more light they're shedding on the truth, and people are just
that's it. You can't do nothing. And really, Esau, he's getting to the stage where they're going to be like, all right, you know what? We can't control this.
Force the hand now.
That's why the scripture says, he shall come down having great wrath because he knoweth but a short time. Yeah, let me get that. Right? That's why the scripture says, the devil, behold, the devil's Revelations 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the deceive what the word means. The devil,
slanderer,
the slanderer. Because people, man, when we saw some red and really red guy, we saw some red guy with the 2 horns was going to come out of the ground and and be deceived, be the devil, right? But that's the reality of the situation. This deceiver is the guy that's coming out here, and every time you point out stuff that he's done in the history, okay, onto our people, he wants to be the victim and the victor.
Hold himself guilty.
Yeah,
even though all the crimes that you committed is written in history. Like shit that you're still doing it to this day. All the nations, everyone's getting fed up with the Esau. So for what?
But that's what's been beautiful. So Ye situation, because what's been happening is people have been like, no, okay, cool. Adidas is severing ties, but y'all was founded by real ass Nazis.
Right. Wow. Yes, of course. Yeah. Because it was two brothers, and then they became Reebok and Adidas, isn't it?
Adidas and Puma.
Yeah, Adidas and Puma.
Yeah, Rudy.
Germans, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Really go back to the small hats. They're the ones that run all these industries. And that's what he was exposing, that all these industries are run by the Jewish media. And now they like Lex and these other guys, these other like Jewish podcasters and all that, they're getting emotional every time he says Jewish media. But it's the truth. You do own the Jewish media. You own all the industries. Who runs all the banking industries?
Charlemagne had one of them execs on, and then Charlemagne was like, "But wait, y'all are allowing songs that are talking about killing black people."
Who was the guy? They're going to make your points.
No, but that was the main thing. Like Charlemagne was like, "But y'all are letting," and the Edom are all you could. I'm like, "Holy," but basically he was like, "But probably good at eat." That's like, what?
There was a guy that said, Jake, might have been the same thing, but he said, pretty much, I challenge you to go on them and on Spotify, the top track. You seen that? He said, show me the top tracks, and I challenge you to show me the top tracks. Not talking about I'll fuck your bitch, I'll kill you. You know what I mean?
I thought Kanye.
It might be that. I can't remember what it was.
One of them said they go on Spotify and pick up the top 10 tracks.
Yes.
Apple Music as well, and all that. And saying that basically it's all about Jake killing Jake, and you're profiting off of that, man. You've been profiting, man. Going back to gangster rap and all that NWA times, you devils, it came out. You devils orchestrated that, man. You came up with that gangster rap, and you made Jake perpetuate that throughout the cities. Because before that, what was they pushing? Conscious rap. Yes. You know, they had a Public Enemy. You know, guys like that. You know, what's the other one?
Tribe Called Quest.
Q-Tip. All them guys.
Oh,
man.
They had a record. They called it Barack Records. All the way back. You didn't know? Slum Village.
Slum Village.
Slum Village. You go on Slum Village. It's got it in the Hebrew. It's got Barack Records on it. Slum Village. So
you in the face.
So they was kind of aware.
Of
particular. No, they didn't have the truth, but they was aware of particular things.
Yeah, the spirit was like opening their minds. Certain things.
So Esau, just like I was reading it right now, Esau came down with Raph, and he used guys like fucking Jay-Z, right? For which I think
Ross, who these guys?
I really, when you really see Jay-Z and me, on my own personal humble like opinion, how is this guy like the top rapper ever? Like,
well, apparently he wasn't even. I forgot, but he wasn't even the first one to come out with Blueprint. Someone else. Oh no, you was using that video.
I think definitely. You know, these guys don't come up with it. Even come out with Drake saying that most of his shit he don't even write. You know, he gets other people to write for him. You know, they pay for people to make them write them hits. You know, make hit albums and shit like that most of the time. You know, but they want to take all the credit for themselves. You know, but you know, as the brother's saying, it's all corruption, man. And as I was saying, going back to the 80s, late 80s, when that gangster rap started kicking off, that's when the corruption started, man. You know, that's when the real corruption in the ghettos and the hoods, and Jake started picking sides, choosing colors, red and blue and all this bullshit. That's when all that shit was initiated, man. And ever since then, Jake has been on a steady decline, man. And even Ecclesiastes tells you that the daughters of music should be brought low. Before that, you had soul music, you had, you know, all that kind of music, decent music back in the day, in the 70s and all that. All that music got done away with, man. Now all you got is drill rap, pot and pan music, man. With a little bit of bass in it, man. That shit is terrible.
But Revelations 12 and 12 halfway through. So woe unto the inhabitants of the sea, right? For the devil, the deceiver, has come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he has a short time.
That's right.
So all of those things, go ahead. So all of those things that we just spoken about, that's because Esau. Way back to the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, the 5th verse, the Most High was going to send Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great day, to turn the hearts of the people back onto the Father. So when Esau seen that men, not effeminates, not some drugged up, right? I mean, we all came from particular backgrounds, but the reality is when the Most High put the spirit upon the prophet, upon the elders, right onto us, man, that shook up the whole game. That's why all of this madness that they're doing throughout the four corners of the earth with the syringe. Okay. What's going to be the next thing? The crippling of the economy. All of that goes back onto what? Or the prophets being out here, because the devil's going to come down having great wrath. Because the scripture says when the prophet's going to be there, That's it.
Time's running shorter and shorter.
That's it.
The sand in the hourglass is running out on these devils. They know they only got a short span of time. Because the chariots keep showing themselves, the angels are showing themselves more and more, and they're trying to deny that the UFOs are celestial beings. But they can't. Sooner or later, they're not going to be able to cover that up. It's going to come to realization that they're not green goblins inside those ships. They're really angels, celestial forces of the Lord, man. And people are going to realize that, man.
Well, the same thing going back onto the Kanye West thing. Yeah, here it is. You're trying to say, hey, you know, Sam, I don't want to flag up on the YouTube, right? But you're saying like this. I mean, I got this Jake. He's kind of like a cool Jake. He's from Nigeria. And, you know about seeing where you are sometimes. Things. I want to explain this happening throughout the four corners of the earth. Yeah, well, bro, what do you think about the Kanye West thing? Yeah. And I'm simply, how deep do you want to go? How deep do you want to go?
Cut you. I think conversation would be funny and Jake at work last night. Yes, we was just sitting there. Spirit was on me like, yeah. I thought, let me break bread with this guy real quick. He was a cool person. He's a cool cat. You get me? I said, bro, what do you think about this Kanye situation and all that? He said, yeah, there's a lot of history in that. So he started opening up my mind. And I even told him, yeah, I follow the Israelite doctrine. Like, he ate it. Fuck up. He didn't say, no, I don't feel like that's the Bible's this, that, and the other. He kind of ate what I was saying to him. So, you know, Jake's, like you're saying, Jake's, that influence is going around the what for. Right. Jake's inquiring now. Jake has been stubborn and being ignorant, saying, nah, that's, you know, throwing things out of the water, basically. Yeah. They're actually going to start thinking about shit.
Because when you look at the whole situation doesn't make no sense. No. Like a guy loses $1 billion overnight.
Yeah, 2 billion or some shit like that.
And he never said, you know, when you listen to what he said, what did he really say that was anti?
Yeah. He didn't kill no one. He didn't insinuate. You know what I'm saying?
He just said, this is who we are.
Yeah. And I got the proof kind of thing.
And apparently that's enough to lose $1 billion.
Yeah, that's enough to be like demonized, ridiculed by everyone, even his own friends are turning him against him. And that shows you that those industry cats, they're not really your friends, man. They're really just associates, man, that work for the enemy.
Well, the whole situation is about, bro. Let the world know what happens when you don't follow orders, because they debanked him.
Yeah, when you bite the hand that feeds you.
And that's setting up the situation for the CBDCs as well. Yeah, because you're going to be taking off the bridge. Let me get a quick precept. Sorry. Isaiah 47 and 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. And like the brother was saying, with this whole situation, all this shame that Esau, the shameful spirit that Esau has pushed out there by way of the slave ships, by way of the what else? All the impoverishment that Jacob suffered through. That's being revealed now, man. Yeah. That shame is being uncovered right now. Okay, you're gonna lose your platform, but guess what? There's a thing in marketing where they said the best way to market something is through word of mouth. If the word,
all
publicity is good publicity. So here it is. They put this guy on blast for saying that he's speaking about his real nationality, but really what's going to happen as a result of that? More dirt is going to be digged up about Esau.
Same thing when Queen Lizzie died.
Yes.
She died, the Pandora's box is open on the history of the fucking British Empire, man. And how these devils, they're not even really British, they're German converts that infiltrated into a royal line, stolen other people's inheritance and lineage and last name, you know, black nobility. And then they went around just terrorizing the whole fucking earth, stealing people's riches, stealing bare jewels and not returning them, man. Till this day, people are still crying out for certain things that have been stolen by the British Empire to return it back to their lands. Man.
Wasn't there's a particular jewel on the crown that they were saying it belongs to what country?
Kenya or something like that.
Right. They said they wanted that returned.
They want it returned. So big, fucking, probably bigger than my hand, man. You know, and it's worth how many millions? 200 million or something like that. Then they got a gold carrot. They got 14 carat gold carriage.
Wow.
Stole from over there.
Yeah.
They still got that. They still need
because that was all stolen gold, wasn't it? That carrot. Yeah. See, people, man, you got these
shameful experience, man.
You got these Edomites walking around the earth like they're the savior of humanity. Yeah. But 200 years ago, the British had what was known as the so-called British Empire. You think they was in India, were just shaking hands and we're gonna peacefully take over you, right? We just talk about the Kenyan jewel that they had. You think that the occupation of Kenya, right, by way of the British was just like, okay, we're gonna just manage you right now. We're gonna manage you better. They went there with
Swords.
right?
Yep.
Guns, Gatling guns. That's how they, that's how they took down nations. This guy was blessed with a sword. He was going to use the sword to get an advantage.
Exactly. That's what they've done throughout history. When they went over to the New World, what did Christopher Columbus come with? That fake false religion. He came with a sword.
Yeah.
And they were shedding innocent blood at that, man. The children of Israel, man, starting with the Northern Kingdom. Then he went over to West Africa and slaughtered them, brought them and slaughtered them. And he's been doing it to all the nations. That's why in Isaiah the 40th chapter, it says that, who is this the man? All these nations are pissed that the so-called white man's been doing this throughout history. And then when we get into the kingdom, they're gonna be like, everyone's just gonna be have like, eagle eyes on this devil and want a piece of his ass, man. Because he's the one that's been, fucking up the nations for ages, man.
Right.
He's the ones causing conflicts, all these major wars, proxy wars, anything to do with war is a banker's war, man.
Yep.
It's got something to do with the banking elite. They're the
All
ones that
wars are bankers.
wars of bankers.
They got a documentary.
They're the infiltrators. They're the economic hitmen. All of that shit, man. They're the ones that always set these. They call themselves the lords of war, even. They call themselves even like the Lord of War. Everyone's gonna find out that it's the so-called white man that's the biggest hypocrite and enemy of the states, man, enemy of all these countries, man. And that's why even their own allies are gonna blow their asses swiftly. Revelation 17 told you they're gonna shoot missiles on that whore, man, because everyone's fed up with this devil, man, and his lies. He's an habitual liar, man. And he comes up with the same synopsis every time when he wants to infiltrate and take people's resources, causes conflicts. Then he goes for their banks and economy, set sanctions and all that. And then, after the stabilization of the government, he sends in another fucking puppet take over.
Yep.
Same fucking
MO.
same MO, same equation every time. Everyone's hip to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
That's why Russia's not having it, man. Yeah. And you think Russia's just sitting back, not reacting? They're getting ready to react. They're just waiting, man, because the Lord's put this cold spirit on King Putin, man. He's put a cold spirit on the Medes. And when that time comes, he's going to unleash these devils like never before, man. Them bombs are going to get used, man.
Was that Ezekiel 30? Was it Ezekiel 38? Ezekiel 38. Let's get the top of it. Ezekiel 38 and 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God and the land of Magog. And where Russia is situated right now, that's the ancient Japhetic cities of Gog and Magog, right?
Gog and Magog, yeah.
Yep.
No man's land.
No man's land. And say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back. So they was, sorry, go on, bro.
No,
so Putin and the Russians, right? They was on the, build Russia up game until the American aggression on their borders, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, all American military bases.
Now they're even saying like, we're going back to the Soviet, old ancient Soviet Union way. They're actually coming out and saying we're going back to the Soviet Union. We're going back to that Soviet Union way. That's what they're actually saying now. They're not even denying it. So that's the prophecy speaking to themselves. The Lord said he's going to put hooks in their jaws, turn them back, to that Cold War era, man. And now they're just some straight war tactics, man. They're not playing around. They don't even want to negotiate with the West no more because they already know there's all a ploy. They're just trying to get closer to their border so they can attack them, man.
That's right. That's what happened with the Ukrainian peninsula, right? Because if I understand the geography correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they was to put military bases in the Ukraine, if Ukraine joins the EU, that's basically Russia's doorstep, isn't it? Yeah. Right there. There you go. Like surface to air missiles on there would be just straight into Russia.
Straight into the,
right.
Moscow.
Right.
It's what do you call it? That's the reason they took Crimea because it's because I think if that falls into NATO hands, then Russia can't get to its Black Sea fleet or something like that.
So it's all tactics.
It's all war tactics. Right? Like when you play them war games, you have to hit certain areas.
Hold on, what is the spirit, right? What were we saying earlier? Cut up the supplies, you start making strategic moves.
That's it. It's all about strategic moves. That's what war games are. It's all tactical. You don't just go in there like a barrage, like in the ancient world. Even when the ancient world used to be tactical, you come from the side, they'll do certain, guerrilla tactics, certain initiations like to take over the other army, to knock their numbers down, basically. And that's what they're doing now because the technology is more advanced. So now they can send drones, you can send little Spitfire missiles, blow up certain places. That's why when it all kicked off, what did they firstly attack Ukraine? The biotech labs. they attacked the biotech labs because they're owned by America. So those are the first places they infiltrated and started attacking. You know, that was part of that technical war effort, man. You know? It's going to get worse though, because you know they're in the Black Sea doing all these different war drills and all that. But it's going to get to the point where, you know, fuck it, we're just going to start crossing, going to go up to the land of unwalled villages.
Yeah,
going to shoot them missiles, man.
Yeah. I'll put hooks in our jaws.
Yeah, there's a quick one. It's a real quick one.
But read that. That's the country as well.
I'll turn it back. I'll put hooks in our jaws, and I'll bring thee forth all that army horsemen, like horses.
Military, army, weapons, and then read get going.
And all of them called sorts of armor, even a great company with clothes and shields, and all of them handling swords. So it's using olden type wording, but you can visualize like when they do the military parades, right? And they got the fatigues on, and they got them. Man, I seen one missile fight. It must have been like 3 times the length of this over here they had on the back of a truck, just dragging it out. This is what we got. We got them things. This is what we're gonna release.
That's the waste to destroy it, man.
China. They do them war games too. Yeah. And obviously they got certain ammunitions and technologies that they're not gonna put out there to the public. Yeah?
No, that's
never show you classified.
Yeah, that's declassified. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So when this war breaks out, like you're saying here, they're gonna have their armies, their horsemen. Yeah, that's the wording, but visualize what's being said, man. Tanks is gonna be on the road.
Yeah, because that's what the horsemen is actually talk about horses, right? Because in Joel, the first chapter or second chapter tells you that the horses, the chariots are like not the chariots, the missiles are likened to horsemen. Running on, running in the I don't know, but I don't want to butcher it, but running in a formation.
Yeah.
So that's not talking about actual horses. It's talking about the power of those missiles, man. That's talking about. You know, that's modern day weaponry, man. It's not talking about ancient weapons and swords in the ancient world, like arrows. When it talks about arrows, it's talking about nuclear missiles, man. Right. It ain't talking about Robin Hood and this few arches away.
Few and I got one.
It's talking about the missile that you just described. That's the real arrow. You know, that they're going to shoot those arrows, 200 million of them. You know, warheads are going to be hitting America. Now let me finish that.
All of them told with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. All of them handling swords, right? Persia, Ethiopia, which is the
Iranians. You know, and who did Russia have? Armenians, yeah, the Elamites, 2nd and 16, yeah, kind of. Ancient Armenians, yeah, the Elamites, modern day Persia today. Who did they join last week and hand in hand and send weaponry and relief over there to Russia to help them with Crimea? Russia. So that's the prophecy being, accomplished right there, man. It's being fulfilled right there. Because Persia is a major counterpart of this whole World War III scenario, man. Yep, they're a big counterpart, man.
Which is why they've got the whole situation over there right now. Because there ain't no way that whole protest is organic. That's happening in Iran.
That's more psyops.
Second Ezra is 16 years wrong. But I like that precept because when you remember the you got Second Ezra 15 and 30. Got it. Yeah, Second Ezra 15 and 30. So I was gonna say before you read that, you gotta remember the Persians, they ruled the world at one point. Yeah? It was that Xerxes and them one. Yeah, right. So they got a particular spirit of them of war. And all right, you got the economic shackles that I can put on people, but these nations, they're gonna return to that war like the Most High's gonna pour out that spirit back onto these nations, man. That great, like you see certain bosses when you're playing a game, innit? And then in the final game, you might have or in a movie, all the bosses come together and they all gonna fight.
Yeah.
The Most High is
the hardest one
because this is gonna be the war of wars.
Yes.
This is gonna be the last war, and we know the Lord is the master of war, right?
Yeah,
he loves war. What about the war? So when this thing plays out, man, hey, through the spirit, in the reincarnation, you might have certain particular figures from back in the day. They're gonna do their thing.
Yeah, that's true because good what you just said because You just mentioned the bosses of games and all that.
Yeah.
But who's the biggest boss? Yahweh Shai. That's why he's gonna let
yeah.
these man fight, do their thing, and think they're big bosses, big bullets, and then Yahweh Shai gonna come with the angels and say, "Nah, I'm the final boss. He's the stone that's gonna smoke the 10 toes, the image, and destroy all of them, man." So the Lord's really gonna show who's the true power of the heavens and the earth, man. So that's why, like Scripture says, Exodus, the Most High is a man of war. So is his son. And they said that when the Lord
is made in the image of his, in the likeness of his father.
and he said when he comes, he's coming to judge and make war.
Just on the couple
Righteousness.
couple quick hits on what you just said. Revelations 19 and 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written.
Yeah, because he's the bosses, man. When you take the bosses, you take the crown. Take the boss, take the crown.
That was like Mario, Super Mario, where you take the stars, and then you ultimately end up,
Yeah.
So it says, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
Yeah, so the Lord ain't coming to shake hands in the UN meeting, none of that shit. When he returns, he's coming to blow heads up.
Like fucking T'Challa.
You know what I'm saying?
In the UN building. He shake hands.
He sold out after they murdered his father. You got the fucking Marvel crew Avengers to murder his father, whether it was by accident or not, still killed him.
Yeah.
And then you want to break bread with him, talking about, no, I don't want to take over the world. Yeah, I want to be peaceful. Now he's dead. That's what happens when you want to ban white. Now he's dead. Ridiculous. But when the Lord comes in negotiations, you're gonna have to negotiate with those laser beams, man, and a nuclear missile. That's what you're gonna have to negotiate with. Because he's coming to conquer all you devils, man. Especially you so-called white people. You're the same devil that put your grubby hands on him and put him on a cross 2,000 years ago. He's not forgotten about that.
That's what you said there. John 18 and 36. Just on the importance of timing, because at the time when Yahweh Shai was crucified, he knew it wasn't the time for him to come in force. And John 18 and 36, Yahweh Shai answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then will my servants fight that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is not my kingdom. But now is my kingdom not from hence."
Yeah, and even in Matthew 19 chapter around about there, the Lord said, "Look, man, if I wanted to, I could call 12 legions. 12 legions of angels right now to come and, take over the whole Roman Empire, take over the globe. And one angel can destroy the whole earth. And a legion, even when you break it down in the blue letter, the legion's like 6,000 or something. You look in the blue letter, so that's between 6,000 to 7,000 soldiers. Then it includes horsemen as well, so horse riders and all that. So that's around 70 to 80,000 angels Lord can call at one time to come and just take over the whole globe, man. And the Lord's going to do that anyway, because he says he's going to come with a multitude of heaven. So the Lord's not playing, man. He ain't coming to, he's coming to invade, man. It's going to be an Israelite invasion, man. There ain't no alien invasion out there.
Who is this that coming? Thy garments from Bosra, as glorious in his apparel, traveling the greatness of his strength. That's the chariots, right? Right. So when Yahweh, it says it in the second of the 16th chapter 2. When Yahweh Shai returns, he's going to be coming with the legions of the heavens, right? The angels, right? He's going to come with great power. Scripture is going to say, hey, he's not going to meet thee as a man, right? And like, unlike the so-called black messiahs that you have risen up, that are peaceable with Esau, Yahweh Shai ain't, which is the God. He ain't coming in this whole peace. Yeah, let's just be cool with Esau. Let's put him to the corner, but I'm over him. Can two kingdoms coexist? No,
it don't make sense. And even the Lord told us back then, this is what the kingdom of heaven is, man. We're going to take over our enemies. And the apostles were so excited about it. They wanted it to happen back then, right? Disciples. But it wasn't at that time. We had to go through the falling away first. We had to come to the stage we're at now. But this is part of the promise that we're going to rule over our enemies. The Lord said he's going to give us scepters of gold, silver, and we're going to rule over our enemies with rods of iron, man. We're going to be beating them to powder. That's the kingdom. We're part of it.
That's right.
Us ruling. We're not going to be equal, shaking hands with the devil in our kingdom. We're going to put him under the ground, man. We're going to put him in slavery. We're going to shackle him, man.
And this is why Jake men don't really resonate with the fucking Christian church. Because their idea of heaven is some pacified wasteland. Like, that's not what's masculine about just walking around. Oh, was it like the moist, they got those robes and you're just walking around and floating. That's their idea of heaven, walking on a cloud. No. Heaven for a masculine man, and you read about the brutality of the men of King David. What kind of heaven would they be looking for? The mighty men of David. What kind of heaven are they looking for?
Lamentation of their way.
That's right. But for real, that's that. The mighty men of David, when they was speaking, which was the men of God that was with Yahweh Shai, right? They was speaking about they would have been on sorry, I lost my train of thought, bro. But they would have been on some big man thing, okay? They want to be on something, Wasn't that how? Which when you speaking about the kingdom of when we're speaking about the kingdom of heaven, we're speaking about, as it says within the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, the house of David being built it back up. Last time I checked the scriptures, when the house of David was being built up, man, they had King David had so much blood on his hands. He said, Most I said, you can't build my temple.
Doing too much conquering, too much slaughtering. Even in his old age.
So if that kingdom was stripped away and it was built upon just massacring nations, right? Putting the nations to powder, when the rightful heir returns,
Exactly.
When the disciples were saying, without this time return the kingdom back onto the 12 tribes of Israel, you think they were speaking like piece of paper and you just signed the kingdom over? No. You got power, Lord. We've seen the miracles you've done. And you're going to use the spiritual power to give the East Edom at the Waffles Apple.
Go on,
sorry, bro.
This is so King David was in that spirit when he prayed to the Lord. It went because throughout many of the psalms that he wrote.
Always about conquering the enemy.
Psalms 18 and 32. It is Yahweh that girdeth me with strength and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds feet and setteth me upon high places.
The Lord didn't do that for him to be band together and be bygone with the other nations. He did it because he wanted them to conquer the other nations. When Joshua and Caleb went into the Holy Land, what did they do? They didn't shake hands with them Canaanites. They had to kill them. They had to slaughter them. You know? And they had, how much trouble did they get through just to try and get into the Holy Land from the wilderness, man? Going through the wilderness of Zin and then, the walls of Jericho, they had to go through Jericho, all the trouble that they had to go through just to get into the Holy Land, And so they weren't no walk in the park. They had to fight. So our thing about the nation of Israel, we always have to fight, man. It's better if we fight together as a people, as a nation. When we're together and we're with the Lord, no one can come up. No weapon formed against us shall prosper, man. We'll be unstoppable, and that's what's going to happen eventually, because the Lord's going to change our body. We're going to get rid of these feeble bodies, get rid of these feeble thoughts, and He's going to give us kingly-like bodies with kingly-like mindsets, man. And He's going to instill His law, statutes, and judgments within us, and we're just going to go around conquering how we're supposed to conquer in righteousness, man. We're going to come out with no mini budget and fuck up the first day. Imagine you had a meeting, like you had a meeting with your elders and all that in the city, whatever, and you had to come up with a mini budget, for the economy, whatever, and then you go and fuck up with the calculations the first day, like Liz Truss and this is like Kwasi
Kwarteng.
Yeah, Kwasi Kwarteng and all that, that guy. They ain't gonna fuck up the budget. They're gonna use logic, wisdom, and understanding to rule over their people, just like King Solomon did. He didn't fuck up with no budgets. He knew how to rule over his people because that's what he prayed to the Lord for. So we're gonna be doing everything in righteousness, man. We ain't gonna be no corruption going on.
A good example of what you said was Moses, because the Lord knew He was going to take Egypt by force, but He sent Moses, and Moses basically went in a so-called, if you want to use the word democratic kind of way, he told Pharaoh to let the Israelites go numerous times, but the Lord didn't have it set up in the spirit where he was going to basically bow to what Moses has said, but the Lord had to bring the forces. Was in our history, just quickly.
That's why Daniel 7:18 told you we're going to take the kingdom. We ain't going to shake hands. We ain't going to hold hands with you now. We're going to take the kingdom. This is the one.
This is the Old Testament. Isn't the Hebrew word there? Tafash. Yeah.
Could be. Go check. Daniel 7:18.
Yeah, it will be that. It will be that. It will be Tafash.
Yeah, it will be.
Which is equivalent to rape.
Arrest.
Yeah.
Take hold of. By force.
Yeah.
It's by force, man.
That's why in the Gospel of Luke said, the Lord said, I'm come to send fire on the earth, and I intend that the word fellow goes into the word fellow, meaning intends the will to desire, meaning the Lord's coming back, wanting there to be smoke already when He returns. This verse teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel was broken by my arm. And the Lord been taught King David, or given him that ability
if he was just going to be going around a Democrat, man. The Lord gave King David that so that he would be able to conquer his enemies, and his enemies would be in fear of him. That's why we had a Nazarite vow, because ultimately speaking, the Lord gave the Nazarites the strength that they had with that covenant, by maintaining the covenant that they kept with him. Because ultimately, man, hey, we needed a fighting force against the nations. We conquered all of the nations of Ham Canaan to get into the land, man.
Rightly so, really. The white man can't say nothing because he's the biggest hypocrite of them all, man.
Yep.
He went around the whole world pillaging, robbing, stealing, and taking other people's nationalities. Yeah, that's Satan, man. Straight up. The Satan's getting roused up. Fuck it, But he went around the whole world with the sword, man, which is partly his blessing. So he can't complain. He can't complain when the law comes back and killing shit and putting shit back. He did the same thing, but you did it in wickedness, though. We're doing it in righteousness, man. We're going to restore balance under Yahweh Shai, being a joint heir. Because those are the first fruits that created all of this world in the first place, when you want to get technical. Those are the first fruits, the elect. There was with Yahweh Shai, the Elohim, if you will, in the beginning, from Genesis, man. Bahara Asha, meaning in the headings in the beginning. They was there, man. They created all of this, so they want to put everything back in order. What you devils are trying to fuck up with your transhumanism, your transformers, and all of this shit that you got out here, man. Now you got drag queens in primary schools. They had one, I think it was one TV program. They said there was one, drag queen. He undressed himself and started playing the piano with his rods. What kind of education is that, man? What are you gonna learn from that? That's ludicrous, man. That's some wickedness.
Now, what in the days, if you was a flamer, they used to say you had a mental disorder.
Yeah.
So if a guy's playing the piano, in his rod, in front of kids, that's a mental disorder.
That guy needs to be locked up. He's supposed to be in a straitjacket, man.
That's a mental disorder, man.
Definitely, man. Yeah.
If you walking around the earth thinking that's normal behavior, no, man. You got issues. You got psychological issues.
What are you going to learn from that? What edification is going to come out of that? You getting butt ass naked in front of kids. And the scripture told you about, presenting yourself naked in front of other people. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to reveal your father's name. The Canaan got cursed for that. I'm got because you revealed his father's naked. He got cursed for that, man. So how much more even now, man? You got these Edomites which don't follow none of the scriptures in the Bible, even though they say that they're God-fearing Christians. They don't follow none of the scriptures in the Bible. They don't adhere to nothing that's righteous in the scriptures. But they want to act like they're so benevolent and God-fearing, but they want to do wickedness like that. Let's act like that, man, and promote it to our kids. They indoctrinate them to basically being wicked little demons, man, little gremlins. That's why this place has got to go, man. This is Sodom 2.0. Even worse than ancient Sodom and Gomorrah. This is 10 times worse now. Now these Sodomites and Gomorrites have got rights, more rights than fucking the average citizen, man.
Yeah. Because when you think about it, what's more beneficial, right? The man's got resources and he wanted to have multiple women, and he was pushing that on the TV. That guy wouldn't last 2 hours, man. He didn't go out. You couldn't make you couldn't have a guy go on TV and say, look, I'm a millionaire. I can take care of this much amount of people to move down. Oh yeah. It's a building a lot, man. But yeah, you get shut down quick. Yeah, you get shut down quick. These are my wives. I look after them. I got the money to look after them. These are my children. My household function. Man, they gonna break that household down. But let's say you're gonna be a degenerate. You have a whole social media page about that, a whole political backing, funding. They'll give you money to push a movement like that. Yeah. I believe in some certain guys are putting themselves in prison in America so they can do the change, right? Yeah. For free. Is that right?
What kind of sick place is this, man?
I'm saying that, yeah. They put themselves in prison. Right. Because I believe if you're in the prison, it's free.
You can change it from it.
Right. So certain guys are putting themselves in positions where they can go into prisons because it's free to change.
What kind of sick place is this, man? Well, people want this place to go on. Even though things are getting to be worse and worse, the cost is becoming unbearable, all this shit. People still want this place to go on, man. That's why this place is gonna get a straight cleanse, man. That nuclear fire is gonna cleanse all this filth, man.
So this is the book of Numbers, the 35th chapter, verse 33, just on the first point about like the blood that he shed. So you shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood is the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Because this man is over the years, just in the transatlantic slave trade, but you go back to the time of the Greeks and what he did with the defilement of the temple. You go even beyond that. When we had left the land of Egypt and we're in the Middle East, when we had left the land of Egypt and we were basically going through the wilderness, man, trying to get through the passageway through Esau's land into the land of Israel. He refused us entry into his gates. And ultimately, this man has done nothing but pursue us, going back to the ancient protege himself, the devil Esau himself, that came out of our forefather Isaac. He hated Jacob, brother Jacob, because he seeks to slay him, man. Obviously, it wasn't in the spirit for him to carry. His intention has always been to harm us as a nation. And that's why the Lord is going to do away with this man, because there's no way on earth that our spirits are going to be changed, man. From the time that the babies were born, man, it was spoken by the angel that there were two separate nations that were going to be separate in their ways, man, and diverse.
So there was warring in the womb, enemies from the womb to the tomb. They're always going to be adversaries and enemies, man. We're never going to come together. That's why, no matter what, Jake want to try and get into the good books of Esau will just keep on killing Jake. No matter, even Ye brought that information out regarding the George Floyd situation, them killing George Floyd supposedly, which was really like another psyop situation, so they can make money off the black community, which they did with the BLM, you know. And then he said that since that situation, 50% more deaths have happened in Chicago, man.
Really?
It has gone up by 50%. So they're killing more and more Jakes, man. They ain't putting that information out on the news. They ain't no more protests about that. So that shows that hypocrisy, right?
It kind of makes sense if it was a science like that
George Floyd.
that it would go up, because
Yeah.
you know, if you're a kid watching that, you kind of get roused up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get roused up, like how we see brothers, we get roused up in videos.
Yeah.
When they get roused up and they get into the bag of their
They
spirit.
very happy. They want to populate. They know that we like to multiply, so they don't mind if the numbers drop. They want the numbers to drop. That's why they throw the guns. They put trucks of loads of guns in the ghettos for Jakes to just find and start using to kill each other. They put drugs. That's what the whole war on drugs was about, man. Reagan and all that. They did that shit on purpose. They want Jake to kill each other. They don't want us to rise up as a people, man. It's all divide and conquer tactics that they've been doing since slavery, man.
Ezekiel 35, verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
Yeah, you did it by the force of the sword. That's why when Christopher Columbus came over to the New World, he went to Hispaniola and all that. What did he bring with him? The sword, man. He didn't come over there. They pretended that to say there was going to be a treaty. They made all them treaties, but they broke all of them, man. And then they started slaughtering, because that's what was in their heart. It tells you that in Psalm 55, man, that war's in their heart, man. Their real intention was to slaughter Jake, and that's what they did. They've been doing that for centuries. Like now, the chickens are coming on to roost. Now they don't want to deal with it no more.
On his top.
There you go, man. Slaughtering of our people, but they don't want to be held accountable for the wicked crimes, man. That's like acting like a damn woman. If a woman should try and get away with murder, but then she just want to wipe off her mouth and say she's done nothing wrong. Don't want to be held accountable for wicked crimes, man. That's like the so-called white man, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, that's been going on to this day. Because even recently, as Donald Trump's presidency, they found oil in a Native American landmass, and then they literally came. They published it on CNN. I remember seeing an article whereby basically they forcibly moved them off that land and then moved them into like pretty much, I think, a good 100 miles away from where they were based at in the name of claiming oil. So it still goes on to this day. But these Edomites will basically try and go on about with that whole equation, but we're not seeking equality, because the Heavenly Father created us as a nation to be above you. And that's what 2/3 of our people don't understand. Scripture says in Proverbs 11 and 21 that though hand join in hand, that the wicked shall not go unpunished. So it's pretty much to a point where there's no retribution. That Scripture says there's no rocky paraphrasing, there's no retribution, there's no basically saving the wicked, there's no retribution for the wicked. There's nothing that this man can do, man, to cleanse his hands.
Yeah, favorably shown to the
wicked. Yeah, it's a level of righteousness.
It's not a piece of righteous.
He's the villain, man. The villain suits back to Isaiah 52. Esau being the villain, he will speak villainly, you know, sure, you know that. They're the weak, man, corruptible, man, you know. And that's the Lord just so happened to let them rule on the earth in this stage of time. But that's because the fulfillment of prophecy. The second Ezra 9 has to be fulfilled. It says that Esau is the end of the world. So he has to be ruling in the end of the world, man. End of this age, end of this heathenist age. All these heathens ruling on the earth. This is the last time any heathen nation is going to rule, man. And Jacob's the beginning of it that followed it. Then it goes to Daniel 2, Daniel 3. You know, that's it's eternal kingdom, man. Eternia, like you got in fucking D-Man. The kingdom of Eternia. That's the kingdom of heaven. We're going to rule for eternity. We're going to be made immortals as well, so we're going to live forever too.
Hey, the main thing that's going to make us immortal is Ezekiel 8 and 8, those laws.
The second covenant.
Because the scripture says the wages of sin is death. Yeah? And we're going to be sinless. Then we're going to be sinless. And in being sinless, you're immortal. Daniel 2, we can start from 37. Yeah? Oh, you want to go straight to the point? 37. So it says, "Thou, O King, art King of Kings, and for the Most High, the God of heaven, Yahweh Shem outside, has given thee a kingdom, power, and strength." That was about the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, right? Right. So that's the same thing with Esau, because Esau is the modern day king of kings, king of Babylon, right? Psalms 137 and 7 comes to mind. Isaiah the 13th chapter comes to mind, and Malachi the 1st chapter comes to mind. Esau is indeed the king of Babylon right now, the modern day. Yep. 8:38 verse. "And wheresoever the children of men, the beasts, and the fowls of heaven that have you given into thy hands, hath made ruler over them." Right? And I think about that scripture. And the way I think about it is, if you listen to read the book of Genesis, you see the dominion that was given unto Adam. It's the same dominion that we're reading about here. That's why the scripture says that the Most High giveth the kingdom to whoever wants, even so the basis of men, right? So the Most High is taking the dominion off of us because of iniquity. He gave the dominion unto the heathens that we're reading about here, the Babylonians, right? After the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, then the Greco-Roman Empire, right? Then the resurgence of the Greco-Roman Empire after we had a 1,000 years of rulership, right? So you got a situation where when your house comes, which is Adam, he's going to take that dominion back. He's going to take that dominion back.
The first Adam,
Yeah.
They made a flesh, and the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. That's why they black Adam, because you know that's who Yahweh Shai is. He's a real true so-called black Adam, because he's a man of color. You know, Adam is a man of color. He's made from the dust of the ground, man, and he's the ultimate power. You know, and he's coming back. And, you know, First Corinthians, the 15th chapter, told you about the first Adam and the last Adam. You know, that's Yahweh Shai. Tells you that's the Yahweh Shai, man. So Adam is coming back, man, and he's going to rule in his seat once again. He ruled back then when he came in the beginning as Adam, but he fell away because of Eve, his wife. But all praise to Yahweh Shai. Devil fled, you know. It's just the devil he shall flee. But then, and he's going to come back now. Because he was the first Adam, and now he's going to be the last Adam. He's going to come back. He's coming back again. So that just shows you that what you're saying is true, man. Everything's 360. Everything are back around.
Yep.
Nation. Yep. There's nothing done, man.
That's right.
First Adam's coming back. That means that Yahweh, he's always been not dead. He's the everlasting power, man. The Almighty. And he's coming to deliver his little brethren, man. We'll always be of that number, be of the hopeful elect. We're going to be part of the joint heirs, man. You know how much of a glory and blessing that is to be joint heirs in the Lord's kingdom. That ain't no small thing, man. That's why we have to catch the hell that we're going through now, like the Lord did, man. We have to go through that furnace of affliction, man. But at the end, the glory, the blessings is going to be innumerable, man. Lord, even brothers are saying, like, you know, apostles and elders and down, some of the blessings, and we don't know, because eyes are not seen, ears are not heard. But the Lord might give you your own fucking galaxy, man.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Your own, not even a galaxy, man.
You got to think about it, right? The angels of Yahweh side, right? He said he can fall down beaches, right? What do they do now? He said he's going to prepare a place. But what are they doing now? What are they doing now? Like, think about that.
Yeah, they've been preparing for 2,000 years.
We don't know what the Most High's got out there, man.
Yeah.
We don't know what the Most High. We don't even understand how beautiful the earth is.
Yeah, we don't even know the full earth. Yeah, we don't.
Like
I
Jake,
mean, because even on that, there are certain like beautiful places in America, but they're just gonna burn it.
yeah, but
It was once a pleasant land.
Yeah.
But think about it this way, yeah. You go this way, so don't
No.
Because even when you think about, oh yeah, the Most High is gonna burn it, but imagine how beautiful it's gonna be. Because when you watch the some of the tribes and some of the heathens and right, what they do is they'll use a patch of land and they'll burn it, and then they'll do like what's known. They do use the sabbatical, right? They'll do the sabbatical, and when they burn that patch that we was using, it's gonna go back beautiful.
Yeah, but more replenished.
Well replenished.
The only difference is America's gonna be a straight up wasteland.
That's it.
It's gonna be straight up radiation
That's
everywhere.
it.
You ain't gonna
That's
be able to know it. Humans gonna be able to even breathe the air.
Inhabit there.
Because everything's gonna be bitter. The wormwood and all that water's gonna be bitter. The land's just gonna be plagued with radiation and destruction. No human inhabitant is gonna be able to walk through that land.
And that's balance, because if the earth is going to be returned back into Eden, that's what happens when you mess up.
Yeah.
That's balance.
That's what happens. That's a big pit of destruction, man. The Lord's gonna use to cleanse the earth.
I'll go straight to the point. In the days of these kings, so the Most High was, that was all the rulers that you had, the evil rulers, right? And now we're in the days of the elite banking families. They're the kings.
Yeah, okay, kings, yeah. Definitely are kings.
Yeah. So, in the days of these kings, so the Most High, the God of heaven, right, set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed.
Never be destroyed, man. So that's what you call everlasting. Esau got the mindset which he thinks his kingdom's gonna rule forever, but that's not so, man.
They show you that in like movies like Elysium,
Yeah.
right? Star Wars. It's
All
like the year 3050.
Yeah, all that.
Esau's still in rulership, boy.
We don't even know what's gonna happen in 225, man. Talk about Rishi Sunak talking about we're gonna have the Bitcoin in circulation in 225. You don't even know where we're gonna be next year, man. Talk about
right.
2 years from now. You could be in slavery in the next 2 years.
That's right. That's right.
You could be in the kingdom in the next 2 years.
I mean, I'm not saying the Most High is going to do that. Oh, sorry, you make it point.
You got the Babylonian king that was celebrating with the Lord's sacred ornaments, drinking with the prostitutes and the harlots.
Yeah.
And the Lord put the writing on the wall,
That
man.
night.
And that night, man, they were taken out.
Dead.
And he was in an atmosphere of celebrating or folly or partying, and then the Lord took his life. That's why the scripture also says that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, right?
That's right.
Because no other being apart from the Most High himself knows the exact moment when he's gonna send Yahweh Shai down with the legions of angels, man. Because the Lord at the end of the day, man, can cut your time short, and there's examples in the scriptures where he's added years onto kings' lives.
Job 14:5 says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass."
Yeah, there's another scripture as well where it talks about the time of the hidden to the oppressor. The Lord knows, I think Ecclesiastes actually. The Lord knows the time, man. So these devils are got all these different plans for their new world order. They want to do this and do that. But as soon as you do something, as soon as you fulfill Job 14:5 and Job 20 and 20, then that's it, man. Your shit is done. You're only gonna get a glimpse into your new world order. You ain't gonna just. No other kingdom since the Babylonians, when they tried to do the new world order, the one world system, that shit got crumbled. You had the Greek Empire, they tried to do it through Antiochus, that shit got crumbled. So what makes you devils think you're gonna accomplish it and you just gonna live forever, man? You gonna crumble as well.
Job 20:22 says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits."
So he's about to set up everything.
Yep. And those straits are happening right now. In situations of this truth. Going out on the highways and edges and being exposed to who the devil really is. That's the straits that you're going through, man. Because you thought it was going to be an easy walk. You're going to, do the COVID thing. You're going to set up more pandemics. You're going to kill off major fools. And then you're going to set up your new world order and just walk off into the sunset. But you're going into straits, man. You're coming into different contentions, And even within your own, a hierarchy of Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, there's infighting within the families and shit, man. You're not in all of one accord, man.
Hey, how does the word go? Could a kingdom, a house is divided up against itself stand?
Satan divided against Satan.
That's it.
There's also that song, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it.
All that is quite, in office. He wasn't really doing his job by the small hat. He was really against the small hat. So he was coming against his You know, yeah, he's masters, man. So that's part of the straits as well. If things didn't really go to plan with Trump, that's why they had to get rid of him and put Biden in.
They kind of show you that in that series, Game of Thrones, because basically that's effectively what you're seeing happening on the world stage. People think, it's all fiction. No, we're literally living through a Game of Thrones, right? And then an unlikely ruler is going to come out in the midst, right? That's what the scriptures say. For example, was in the 5th chapter, right? I'm right by the that's what the scriptures say also. You know, him that is this he whom we had sometimes in derision, around the proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. Where people thought that Israel, nothing was going to come of Israel, but we're the unlikely rule that's going to come, right? But once again, in that Game of Thrones, they show you how the backstabbing. You had, for instance, the Lannisters send the treachery. Here it is. One fan was supposed to be joining on to another, and then little did they know that day that they were going to get murked off, right?
London's generals, when they came into power, they
say earlier. That's what I was going to say. What do we say? If Satan be divided up against himself, how shall his house stand? Yep. But when you look at the history of Esau and his rulership on the earth, pretty much the rulership of Esau has been fight. The Seleucid Empire was coming up with the Ptolemies, right? All kind of rebellions, and I mean, you really think about it, it's like, yo, man, you got the fatness of the earth, just chill. It's not enough. They got to fight. This family's got to have the biggest portion. That family's got to have the biggest portion. They want more, right? The Geddes, they want more, right? Who else comes to mind? The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. It's all infighting. So that's why this whole thing really was set up. The Most High put it within the code for it to not work.
It's not gonna work. They're gonna get close enough, but still not gonna. It's not gonna be flourishing like they think.
That even made me think of ancient Rome with Julius Caesar, because he was betrayed by his fellow Edomites, man, and they stabbed him to death in the Senate. You know, and he was like pretty much got to a point where he was deified. That's why, like Caesar, his name then became like the Roman way of basically calling yourself the king. But Edomites are power hungry, man, and they'll kill anything. They'll kill their mother for an opportunity, man.
Even on the light example, the situation with the PM now, man. You know, you had 3 different PMs in 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, that shows you they're not in order, man. They're not in creates. They're all over the fucking place. Like, you know, it's the history repeating itself.
Richie might do it, man. For the time you brothers bumped into,
we actually bumped into him.
And I'm thinking about that. And I remember he was on I put it in the chat a couple of weeks ago, because I was watching you brothers when Elton Khan, all the other brothers was done, and you said Richie might be. Remember I was telling you Richie might be. It's smart.
Yeah, because his wife's a fucking brilliant. And he was to Eton.
Yeah. He was private school anyway. He was Winchester.
Part of that club. You know what I'm saying? That's an Edomite thing. That's some small hat shit.
He's JP Morgan as well.
Oh, man, he got small hat blood in him, man. He ain't no Edomite, man. And then the deity that he worships, the God that he worships is called Kali, which is supposed to be the God of destruction, the God of judgment, death. So he's going to do his thing, man. Then he just put out the new coin. Seen the new 50p coin of King Charles III? They put it out yesterday. But his head's facing the left.
Oh, wow.
You know, usually the coin, the head's facing the right. It's now it's facing the left. So they're showing you the long road.
And Rishi became prime minister on Diwali, which is a Hindu festival.
Festival of Lights.
Hindu god Kali.
The festival of light, which is supposed to represent the victory of light over darkness.
Really, it's the opposite. Really, darkness over light. Is that the god that they worship represents death? The goddess of death and destruction. So we're in some horrendous, we're in some sinister times, man. And then Sunak is the one. He said in 2021 he wants to initiate a Bitcoin. He's down for the Bitcoin. So he's down with the WEFI. I call it WEFI, World Economic Forum of the Illuminati. I call him the WEFI, man. He's down with the program, bro. King Charles, he went to shit. Where did he go to first meeting? He went to meet King Charles, shake his hand, do that Illuminati handshake, say, I'm down with the program. We're going to do this thing now. New World Order season, man. That's the times we're in.
Continuing on, it says, Job 20 and 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits.
Yeah.
Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
So it's not all going to work out to their benefit, man. You know, things are going to get harder and harder for us, but things are also going to get harder and harder for them. And also, don't forget, the Lord going to endow certain men with spiritual power. That's going to be another spanner in the works for Esau. He's not going to be able to deal with that situation. He's going to have to come with the force, with the troops, because you're going to be seeing men with spiritual power, you know, healing people on the YouTube and all that, around the four winds of the earth. And that's going to drive them Edomites crazy. They're going to, you know, want to send their armies off, you know, to hunt men down and all that. It's going to get bad out here, man.
Book of Sirach 10 and 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such a one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. Because this man will stop at absolutely nothing to accomplish wickedness. Back in the early 2000s, they've still got a lot of Jakes believing that the Twin Towers was a bunch of Arabs that flew planes into the building, man. Because this man, at the end of the day, is the master of deception. That's why the scripture calls him the border of wickedness in Malachi, the 1st chapter. Wherever this man goes, you can expect wickedness to follow. That's even in his medical institutions. You can go into any medical store and pick up a bottle of medicine, read the side of the box, and there's always going to be a list of side effects. But this man can't do anything correctly. He's talking about sustainability, and then he's creating plastic and synthetic foods that cause all sorts of diseases, cancers. He came out with those fucking e-cigarette bullshit shits, talking about vapes, talking about it's better than a cigarette. People are dying at rapid rates. People are dying of them shits faster than that.
Some of them vapes blow up at people's faces, man. Smoking that stupid, you know, gas shit, and it blows up in their face.
Stupid.
Yeah, it blows. Stupid. It smells like incense, but it's not the incense that you burn in your house. You know?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I've heard this, how the scriptures phrase.
Yeah, Job 20 in it. Yeah.
Job,
more than that. Probably all of that.
yeah. Job 20, and then up from 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short?
Yeah,
It's true. Esau's got all of these plans. He's built up America. He's done this. He's done that. But 1 hour. 1 hour. Everything that you spent 400 years building is going to come to naught. 400 years plus.
That's
It says,
It really shows that you ain't really that powerful.
Yeah.
You ain't as great as you thought you was.
hey, that shows you the great power of the Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Yeah. That goes to show you the great power you have outside.
Decimate your shit in an hour.
Esau's put like meticulous plans, bro.
Yeah. Diligent search.
This guy, it seems like that's in there. They could have planned that from like 300-400 years ago.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean? Because maybe not 300, but like 200 years ago, they had to go plant their seed amongst Elam.
Yeah, no, they've been doing it. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Get this guy over here, go through the program and that, and then they show you on the fucking Simpsons and all that stuff. Okay, this is what we're gonna do.
And then they do 2 years later, they actually do it. Like 9/11 was.
Yeah.
The Obama situation. Simpsons. So a lot of things they put in their programs.
Yeah.
Who owns those programs? The Jewish media, the JM.
Well, but because this is it.
Sorry, Salakia, because they had even this guy, what's the president? Not president, the prime minister of Britain. That was like, in a few years I can see
Cameron.
Cameron. He was like, Cameron was like, there's gonna be a prime minister, man.
Yeah.
He said that.
Look at it.
There you go. Lo and behold.
I was going to say this, that, but that's just a thing of elites in general. Like, because the thing is, we do it amongst ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We'll be in public and we'll communicate amongst the masses. People are, they're having a really interesting conversation. Well, really, we're talking about their destruction.
That's right.
And it's
That's
the
right.
same thing with the elites,
That's right.
with the elites of Esau.
That's
But
right.
they got the resources to back what they do.
Yeah, they got the resources, but the thing is, they've got the media to push. Like, let's be real. Like, let's say we had a TV network, right? Yeah, but it's all like
the real HBO, Hebrew Broadcasting Organization.
that's it. But what you call when we'd make movies, we'd be an hour information
That's
in
right.
there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
Vibing, messages.
The
Yeah,
subliminal.
no,
They got
subliminal.
the resources, they own all the media, all that shit, all the
Yeah.
industry they own. So they can put all those hidden knowledge in there. But now they're not even hiding shit no more. Now
Yeah.
they're just coming out with it
Yeah.
and saying, look, this is what we want to do. Either get down or get laid down.
It's that diligent search though, because this is it. He knows one thing. He knows a power that he understands is groupthink, where he understands that he doesn't even he just needs to put out a narrative that people will adhere to, right? And then when you wanna think for yourselves, that groupthink pressure, that peer pressure is too strong, right? Like I remember they'll show you all of these psychological experiments where basically like people will be coming into a lift and they'll be facing the wrong way in the lift. But then the one person that's facing the right way, all of a sudden, after a few minutes, not a couple of seconds, starts turning the wrong way. There was another one where it was like in a doctor's office, and there'll be a bell ding, and everyone would stand up,
Yes, that was
right? And then they sit down, and after like a couple of minutes, the person who wasn't an actor is like, "Oh shit, everyone else is doing that." That's herd mentality. That's why they push out your Kanye West. That's why they push out your David Icke. That's why they push out your all of these different people that they set up as people to follow, because then they got a big influence. But then it's sort of like with the David Icke situation, when you now come out and say it, anything that he has said, they're like, oh, what, do you believe in lizard people as well? So they know that people don't want to be labeled crazy, so they let certain cults of personalities push out information so that they can then manipulate people to actually make them sound crazy, you know.
They would try to control both sides of the fence, basically, man. So-called activists or the ones that are against society, they pay them off as well.
Yeah.
Like Alex Joneses and David Icke and all these different guys, Jordan Maxwell's, and all of them, man. They pay for the opposition, But the true opposition is the men of the Lord. And these devils know that we're out here, because I was going to read Revelations 11, the two witnesses and all that. And they see the great army, spiritual army being built up in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They know that they can't pay those men off. Yeah. They can't do nothing against those men. Yeah. The only thing they can do is try and kill us, man. Yeah. Even in that, they still can't stop this word going out. Because the Lord can resurrect us and bring us back in new bodies. So there's really nothing they can do to stop this truth, man. And even the scripture said the Lord can raise up stones, man, if he wanted to. That's the only thing Esau can't control. He can't control how this truth comes out, how this truth is going around the four winds of the earth. This is above his pay grade, man. Trying to pay men off, trying to get agents and all that to infiltrate groups, COINTELPRO and all that. He's got all these actors, celebrities trying to join the bandwagon, but it's still not affecting the truth. Yeah, the truth is still out there.
Once again, you can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. Because I can really imagine they were like, look, we've got this Israelite problem. They sat there, they had a think tank. We've got the Israelite problem. What should we do? Why don't we get that one of them rappers? A few of them to go out and start saying, and then what we're gonna do is off the back of that.
Let's get Crazy West, and Crazy Harry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some new crime bros.
Yeah.
Off of the back of that.
Saying,
But that does is it actually makes people more aware of truth. Because the reality of the situation is, if you're trying to if they try to take meat from the fucking shelves, people are gonna say, all right, we need to look at what's happening here. You try to take the truth speech off of the shelves, then people are gonna be looking at, okay, why is that particular thing happening? Yeah. So again, like the prophet said, you can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. You're just directing to ask the question now. Yeah. I'm more inquisitive.
Acquiring more.
Also, just on one of the previous points, real quick, about this man changing the narrative, because in the time of Antiochus, you had it where he basically set the edict that every nation under the Greek rule, under his rule at the time, should leave their power and become a Greek. So it became to a point where you would have had children, and those children would have had children. They would have lived in that kind of environment and believed themselves to have been Greek. So then you would have gone, you would have gone to a man and like one of those heathen-minded individuals and told him he actually was of a separate nation, and he would have looked to you like you out your mind. Same thing today. This is the First Maccabees 1:41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his people, his whole kingdom, sorry, that all should be one people. And that's the kind of doctrine that they're pushing now. You know, like that whole equality, that we're all equal. This universal is like that. This is a safe environment for everyone. They're trying to bring in like Elam and Jake together, talking about you can be a bender, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, which all of that is witchcraft. I think Habakkuk 2nd chapter speaks about it. He put to himself all people. Always think it was when I went to my country where I was born, and I was really like meditating on that precept. It's also the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, that one as well, because what happens when you amalgamate all the people here is they've got family back home, right? So then they're speaking to the family back home. Let's say you got an auntie back home, and auntie's like, my husband hit me, but it's okay. But the auntie in England's going to be like, nah, you should divorce him. It's a way that he can use to export the indoctrination directly into people's minds.
So the one world order is mass indoctrination. And everyone come together as one. When the Lord separated the nations from the beginning of time, man, gave them all the different lands, and he separated us. He never wanted us to be all glad together.
Yep. The Deuteronomy, when the Mosai divided the nation, exactly. He gave each an inheritance.
And everyone should leave.
It's also which says the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth him. Yeah. Each time Jake was around heathens, what happened? He started going off. That's what it says in the account when the Northern Kingdom went to the Americas. I was like, look, man, here amongst these heathens, you keep going off. Let us go to another land, right, and then to where we can keep the laws.
Was their account? I forget which prophet it was that where the children couldn't learn the language, they couldn't speak our language.
Ezra. I believe Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yeah. The children were heathenistic to the core, man, where they couldn't use. Back in First Maccabees 1:42, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen.
Yeah, and then that's what you see in this world. Yeah. Right, where it's sort of like people are, you're not amalgamating into society. Wait, what did these racist Edomites say? This isn't Bangladesh.
Yeah, you had that when Rishi Sunak got elected, put in. Yeah, you had that Edomite talk about it. I couldn't fucking go to Pakistan and become the prime minister of Pakistan.
It's true though. Because you can't. A black man can't go to fucking India and become prime minister. Same like an Edomite can't go over there. They'll kill him. They'll take his ass out that same day. He tries to go to the parliament or whatever, the House of Lords, whatever it is over there in India. Try to talk about I'm going to run for PM. They're going to execute him on his way out of that building. They'll take him
this guy's going to be. Yeah, I'm looking.
Yep.
But over here, it's just like you can be a lesbo, you can be a dyke, you can be a Elamite, you can be anything and become PM. It don't make no fucking sense, man. This is Great Britain.
Yep. That's it. But it'll say even on that, you'll get them people that'll be like, now they're gonna bring that Sharia law.
No, 20 years ago, top terrorist.
Yeah.
Now you got PM as a terrorist running your office.
Yeah, they are terrorists, man. He's a damn terrorist.
Yeah,
biggest terrorist on earth.
Yeah.
When he was the guy that he's also supposedly the American guy that killed Bin Laden, isn't it? And he said when he killed him, he basically had his 2-year-old daughter there, and then he said he felt bad, so he just put the daughter in the mother's arms. After he just whacked the father, took him out.
The tender mercy, the wicked are cruel.
True, man. He just whacked him.
Yeah.
Girl's dad, she don't know what's going on. She's probably seeing blood everywhere. And he said, he felt bad. He just picked her up, put her in the mother's arms. Now, after he just committed murder, first degree murder, man. Because Bin Laden went no real terrorist, man. He was just living in the sons. And the sons of Arab.
Wasn't he educated in Oxford?
Yeah, he was educated by the fucking.
He was a NASA.
The whole family was, man. The whole family was taken care of by the Bushes and all that. It was a business for them. Then obviously they used them for, as a scapegoat for this 9/11 bullshit. Became the hitman. So that same. He could be Rishi Sunak in reincarnation. I don't know, man. Let Sunak start growing a beard. I'll get him out of the office, bro. Let's say 9 man. He's cut that beard off.
Yeah, man, that's how he made it, isn't it?
Yeah,
have that beard. Did you have that beard?
That's why definitely got some small hat blood in him. I don't think that guy knows what a chapati is. Nothing like that. He ain't had no Indian dish ever in his life. He's been growing up
Raw
eating
steak.
silver, yeah.
Raw steak.
Hors d'oeuvres and all this other shit, caviar. That's what he's been eating his whole life, man. He ain't been eating no curries and all that shit. That guy don't even know what a curry is.
Makes a coma when you're asleep.
So I'm saying, what's that other vindaloo? Tell him what's a vindaloo. Have you ever had what's a vindaloo? That's a country. That guy's a small hat, man. Part of that 30 bloodline with the Illuminati, man. One of them.
Especially when you look at his family's history as well, where they came they basically are his mother and father are both. He was born I think were both from Africa, right? So one of his father. But you know what it is that from that you get because when you meet like a lot of so-called white people that I'll say, oh yeah, I'm from South Africa. But that's because their families had dealings, financial dealings. So then whenever I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, I'm from South Africa," I just think you fucking slave, bro. That's goes in my mind, right? So if that's really his true story lineage, that means they were doing their dealings over there.
Baba was saying the same thing. He was saying he was a Hamite. He's not a Hamite.
Yeah.
He's a Hamite.
Yeah.
His mother was a.
Yeah.
So it's like same thing as probably the other way around. Yeah. They got some small hat blood in them.
Yeah.
One way or another. There's no way white been in there. It's not like he just United States Emirates or the UAE and they just came from that line. They didn't come from that line, man. They got some other bloodline.
You don't get that rich in Esau's kingdom without having to build. Because Esau makes you people look at this Musk like some kind of genius. He's a fucking cunt, man. Yeah.
He's no one.
Doing the bidding of the elite.
He gave Twitter account.
There's a reason why Yale, Harvard, and I forgot the Princeton or the top. If you look at on Wikipedia and you look at where the presidents of the United States were educated, about nearly 3/4 of them all went to one of those three institutions at certain points in their life, or Princeton, because it's a club.
Over here is Oxford. Yep. Those are the top universities, and all these no coinky and all these damn fucking PMs and top people in government. They all went to these damn schools, man, because they're part of the club. It's called a grooming, man. You know.
Yeah, I think First Maccabees 1:40, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and became a religion.
That's a good point. That's a good point because everyone has a religion. People will be like, I'm not religious, but then they are when you look at Republic,
you got particular days that's sacred to birthdays. That's occultic.
Yeah.
So
Halloween.
Exactly. So that's their religion.
Yeah, religion as well. Because even back then, in the Ptolemaic Empire, before the Greeks, which same people went to it, they was worshipping Serapis Christus. So that's why they had the white image of Jesus back then as well.
I'm about to say, so like a man being big guys like this is nothing. Look at Daniel when he was in the land of Babylon, where the king was given that advice by his advisors for pretty much make himself a deity. He created a religion and he made himself. So then you had it to where people that would have been living in that land, you would have had children born, and they would have been born to their parents saying, "Yo, this deity right here is he's a living God, man." And then it's the same. That's that same kind of vibration as Jesus Christ was. Just that you people have been told. Like, that's what when Jake will go to church tomorrow and they're up in those churches in the grove praying, it's the same kind, it's a similar kind of vibration. It's the same spirit.
The enchantments.
They say also in terms of religion, this old Democrat Republican, when you actually listen to the way they speak, they move like a religion, right? Would you call it, if you're a Democrat, you gotta be pro-abortion. You gotta be all of that, which we know in the scriptures, Revelation 13:11 to horns of a lamb, right? That fake as a dragon, because they're both for your death. Don't get it twisted. Destruction, but also I was thinking as well, you get like Muslims, so like I think we get certain sects of say Muslim where it's like, oh, you're that sect of Muslim, we can't date.
Yeah.
And over there in America, oh, you're Republican, I'm sorry, I can't date.
So it says, yeah, many of the Israelites also consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
Yeah, so what was they doing? They're eating, defiled foods, keeping the customs of the heathen, dressing in togas and shit like that. Doing things outside of the scriptures. Rebellion, man. It's the word rebellion goes into warring against the Most High, basically. They're warring against the order of the Lord set. Not eating certain foods and following the way of the heathen. Not defiling yourself and sleeping with another man's wife. And having long hair. All this shit Jake was doing, man. He was following the ways of the heathen. They were to the point where Apostle Paul was cursing these niggas out. Greece. He was cursing them niggas out. They had long ass hair. Was committing adultery. Was wearing togas and shit like that. They were eating. They weren't abstaining from all these false foods, defiled foods that you're not supposed to. They was actually living like a damn heathen. That's why he was sent as a prophet to the Gentiles, man.
And for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. And our people sold out as well because following that king's religion have political and monetary benefits, because at the end of the day you were a friend to the king to follow that religion. So and it's the same thing with Christianity today. The majority of Jakes get into that and especially from the West Coast, the majority of West Coast Jakes get into that pastor's type of vibration because they know they can manipulate simple-minded Jakes and get a lot of money from it, man. There's benefits to them for doing that. And
Doctrine.
but that's why Nate's doing what he's doing, because there's money in it. That's why he's celebrating marriages and selling starter kits and breakdowns and.
Because even just in this world in general, people consent onto equal religion in that one of the things when you're famous or whatever, when you've got that spotlight, you've got to follow the doctrine. So if you are, what you call it, if you're rich and famous, whatever, but then you're anti the alphabet people, you're gonna run into problems. You gotta be down with the agenda that Esau has set.
You had wicked niggas like that back in Acts. They was worshipping their idols and all that. And then Paul came, told him, basically cursing their asses out and telling them, you're worshipping false idols and that. And basically they got upset because they said they were stopping their money.
Yeah. Thing with if his man's ministry is allowed to continue, we're gonna lose our place. Yeah. Roughly paraphrase. So yeah, when Esau's in rulership, man, you gotta get down with his program in order to get up on the level, man. Yeah. The Sunak video. But jokes aside, that's why the scripture says, if any man love his life, his wife, his family more than me, he's not worthy of it. Because ultimately, especially in the times that we're living in right now, you're gonna be compromised if you're really into this world, man. You're gonna be compromised if you're into the way of this world. Yeah, right. So you're gonna be able to make the sacrifice.
Yeah. This is it. Like, otherwise the Lord's gonna make it for you.
Yeah. This is a similar thing with Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah 44:15. Go straight to the point. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all that the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt in parables, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto it, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven. And
we're gonna do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jake, once again, that's same spirits are back here today.
Yeah.
Right.
We can also speak.
Yeah.
Repent, get right. No, you don't want to stop eating pork and doing certain things. Now you don't want to stop the riotiness, do behaviors and all that. They don't want to stop.
I want to buy my Christmas present.
They want to go to gay parades and all that. Celebrate pride parades. That's why the Lord won't destroy these people, man.
Says to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done.
Which, if I can say, what is happening now in this world is that is happening on subconscious levels.
Yeah.
Esau has woven that into the fabric of society, right? You look at the Starbucks logo, you go there, that's what you're doing, right? All of these sex magic people are partaking and not realizing that they're actually performing sex magic, right? But that's what Esau's, like I said, once again, is he's woven witchcraft.
Yeah, because when you look into one of the agendas that they wanted to do was to basically have everybody on like a third degree Mason level. Get the book of Isaiah 47 actually. About that. Yeah, for that. Because that goes into the witchcraft like you saw. Yeah, that's the main source of power. Yeah. So what they wanted to do, I can't really what they wanted to do is they wanted to get basically everybody on the level of like a third degree Mason without knowing it. So that's why you go into uni and you wear the black gown, you wear the cap. That's why
You actually feel like a witch when it's lucky, like, cut you off. But you know, obviously, brothers graduated. You go to the ceremony. You actually feel like a damn warlock. You're sitting there in your gown with the shit, square shit on your head.
For Saturn, up in
You know,
squares and
you got all the ministers and all that. They got all their garments on. They wearing some big ass jewelry, Masonic jewelry and emblems and talismans and shit. You got to shake their hands. That is all Masonic, man.
So what they wanted to do is they wanted to have everybody on that level. So you look at this world and how interwoven it is with witchcraft, like the Marvel. I look at the Marvel stuff, right? Let's look at it from the Norse mythology. The Norse mythology with the Thor stuff. I mean, how many Thor films are you gonna have? How many movies about the Vikings are you gonna have? Yeah. And when you really watch the portrayals that they have, right? They're praising Odin. Yeah. Like you watch not just Vikings, but you watch what's this TV program that he used to have with this was a good movie. It was the Vikings, so like it. Yeah, right. Like you see some of the conversations that they be having, but really that the most penultimate parts of the program was praising the Odin, Valkyrie, and all of that, and that gets interwoven in people's society, man. Into their psyche, right?
Go on, bro. Just to back your point, they brought out the Black Panther, and then that was to get Jake into that into that black and Egyptology kind of vibration. Yeah. Because Egypt has always been a bias,
and that goes hand in hand with Esau's witchcraft too. Because here it is, they call it Egyptology, but they ain't like look, Esau's amalgamated all the witchcrafts, man. It might be Hindu witchcraft, they got that in there. Yeah. The Babylonians, they got that in there. The Egyptian shit, they got that in there.
And the trilogy, the Christian trilogy, is just the reincarnation of that ancient Trinity. Trinity spirit. It's just the Babylonian gods is reborn again. And another, what the scripture says, there's nothing new under the sun. What has been is that which shall be done.
Babylon the Great, because the kind of we worship the multitude of gods. Like certain kingdoms,
the pantheon.
There's a pantheon, man. Like the Greek Empire, they had the pantheon. They had the Olympics and all that. Look, recently they had the Commonwealth.
They had the apple pool there, right?
Yeah.
And
everyone's bowing down to it, chanting shit after it. That's Babylonian worship.
I mean, you gotta really be subverted to look at that and be like, yo, this is just art. Like, who thinks?
What's that got to do with sport?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, this is supposed to be motivational, getting the athletes into a position where they're gonna be fit and ready for the battle, for the games, right? Yeah. And you got a black woman in front of the Aquis pool.
She's riding it. She was riding it.
Right. That was a ritual.
Yeah, man.
That was a ritual. So the Isaiah 47.
Yeah. I've also there's a quick one just what you've been saying and I'll go through it real quick. So this is just to finish off in Jeremiah 44. It says, continuing in 17, and to pour out drink offerings unto her as we have done. We and our fathers, our kings, our princes, and the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem. For them we had plenty of victuals and were well, we saw no evil. So they were saying when we was doing what we was doing, getting down with the heathen, we had no problems. We had benefits.
Same with Maccabees, we were reading before.
Yeah.
But this is it. Jake is short-sighted, man.
They're doing that shit now. That's like part of the benefit.
Yeah.
doctrine, you get the women kill their babies, and they're not getting thrown in prison for it.
Yeah.
So that's murder right there. You're murdering your children, man.
It's as I say regularly, women's sports is predicated on the access to abortion.
Making your kids to pass
Yeah,
through fire.
makes you because it's the actual you know, people talk about, oh, Kanye West sacrificed his mother. These women are sacrificing their children for their career.
Yeah.
It's an actual sacrifice.
Yeah, no, I actually say that. I sacrificed my youth, or I sacrificed my children to get ahead.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the so-called wage gap, statistically speaking, the wage gap is based on women looking after children. That's it. That's the wage gap. Maternity. But by the time, look, man, as people gone on maternity, I came back and I was on a different level than when they left. You know what I'm saying? So how can you be equivalent? You haven't been working for 2 years.
Or breastfeeding.
You know what I mean? So obviously, you've got some individuals that want to get ahead. They're not going to have to. So when they don't have to use sacrifice, man, the same thing that what they were doing in the ancient world. Not underneath the sun.
It's like it's ingrained in society. Like he's so used to that for really the rich to follow his philosophy. Abortion is a philosophy of the elite. Feminism, all this bullshit is all
That goes back onto
all these
Egypt,
isms.
the feminism, right? Am I mistaken in that? I believe the feminism goes back into Egypt, right? The worship of the woman.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Having worship.
Right.
It says, and were well and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been
because that was trying to here, and that's it. Like Jake is short-sighted, right? And that's why the apostles push having a vision, because on this side, brothers may have things or whatever, what have you, but we're not invested, right? So whereas you get individuals that are in this world that are invested in this world, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, trying to get up in this world. Obviously, when you come in, you kind of start, you be like, nah, it's all bullshit. Yeah, once again, you do what you do. Yeah, exactly. You do what you do. So of course, you ain't gonna drive the Bentley. Exactly.
You people sell your soul trusting on certain riches. You get a damn Bentley, get an average car, man.
Yeah, Yahushua said, basically,
Hey, Yahushua came on the donkey side.
He's the king.
And he's the king. Not just the king of kings. Yeah, man. Top spirit. Underneath Yahweh. He came on the ass of a donkey.
Yeah. What I think he became poor. It's written within the scriptures.
Moses gave up all these riches. Like when they show the Ten Commandments, they always show it like to say, "Oh, he just found out he was a Hebrew, and then he went into the wilderness and suffered." No, he already knew he was a Hebrew.
His sister
was look after him. He gave up that life so he can suffer with his people. It says that in Hebrews 11. So I'm always trying to portray like he didn't know, he found out. And then he thought, "No, fuck it, I'm just going to go and suffer." No, man, he already knew who he was. Yeah. But he decided, look, man, I'm going to give up all these riches for the Lord, man. And he did it.
Yeah. Paul said it. The Apostle Paul said, "I count all things done for the gain of the."
Paul was a man of society. He was outstanding. Yeah. He was like a proper citizen. He could have been in the Senate if he wanted to. He was one of them top guys. He said, "Fuck that, he can't do all that is done."
He was in the army side of things, didn't he?
Yeah, army, the Pharisees raised up by Gamaliel. Yeah. So he was a top guy. He could have been one of the Sadducees. Living that good life. But then when the Lord came to him, he said, "Fuck it, I can't do this done." Gave up all. That's the mindset we got. We don't have no ties in society. He's sort of trying to come to us with a suitcase of money. Yeah. Take that suitcase, shove it up your ass.
But that's why Scripture says, 33 and 6, knowledge is the stability of thy times. Because is it when we tell Jake that this world is about to end, or that the system is about to crash, they think they're just going to be out there living in the streets for the next 50 years. But it's like, no, it's going to be just a short time. You're giving up nothing. That's what it says in 1 Corinthians 4 and 7. I think 2 Corinthians 4:17 about basically our chastisement, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
I was going to say, I've never understood that sellout thing, man. Yeah. Especially even for the MLTV, because when Lord's will, I don't take that, the MLTV. Lord's will. But when you really think about it, like, They already ain't gonna be no food within the world. The resources are gonna be scarce, and you're gonna be getting the MLTV when it's like days before your Howard Shai comes. So you're gonna what? You're gonna lose the kingdom for days? For days, bro. For days worth of rations. That don't make no sense. Like it would make sense if that they
And you still gonna die.
Yeah.
You're gonna put that shit in your skin and then
Yeah,
you're gonna
have to breathe this out.
you're gonna have cancers and all that. You ain't gonna live normal until you'll be catching hell. It
That
says them
shall
that
seek to save their lives shall lose it.
exactly. It says them that give consent should be had in derision, man. So you're gonna be catching hell. Don't mean 'cause you took the chip. Oh, everything's cool now because you can tap your hand on the door. The door not on the meat and shit's paid for. You're gonna be catching it, man. You're gonna be getting it worse than if you didn't take that damn shit.
Because they might not even give you any food.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, what happened with the juicy juice? They gave it to you. You won't get it. Whoops. Still get. And now it's coming out that the people who got all of them doses are the only ones getting sick. Right? And yeah.
Live on stage.
Yeah. Even on that point as well, like those that didn't take the juice are the ones that are good from the CV. The same way those that take the TV to eat are the ones that ain't gonna eat because the Lord.
The scripture says that. Sorry, don't cut you off. Scripture says they that seek to save their lives shall lose their life. And I think about that with reference to Esau too. Yeah. Because the heritage of Esau is to be destroyed. Malachi, the first chapter, said they shall build, but I'll throw down. But Esau's trying to save his life. And the people that's going to be down with Esau's program, they're going to try and save their lives too.
Isaiah 30 says they shall fail together. They that are hoping, meaning trying to help this devil in his endeavors, they're going to fail together. So if you take that MOT to the B, you're fucked, man.
That's right.
And the Lord's not going to deliver you. You won't get hit with the Wapo Zappo or the nuclear fire, man. You can't pop that damn chip out your skin. Once you're taking it, you bow down to this devil.
Bow down to and taking the all. It's a digital all.
Yeah, digital all. Pledge allegiance to the devil.
Yeah.
You know? Because
then you're not going to be part of when the scripture says in Isaiah 65:13, my servant shall eat.
Let me get this precept right quick. Mark 18:36. What shall it profit a man if he'll gain the world and lose his own soul? How you gonna lose your soul? By accepting the mark of the beast. By saying, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna sell out. It's basically you're a sellout. It's like you got these niggas sell out in the industry days for how many years they've been doing the same shit for money. Jake gonna sell out for for rations, man. When their backs against the wall, they want to feed themselves and their family. You know, they're
on me.
Yeah. They're gonna be eating, they're probably gonna give you that fucking laboratory meat and all that shit, rat burgers and all that. You're thinking, yeah, your shit is sweet.
Yeah. So if I say there was a point in the scripture you quoted before, you said, and they that consent unto them. Because the key thing for Esau is that you consent.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? Same thing with the rule in the law, rather, in terms of the slave, the Hebrew servant.
Yeah.
Right? You got to consent. And then you which could, that's where you physically go and you tell them, look, the master can't just whilst he's sleeping. Exactly. If you want to. Yeah. So the master can't just come sleep while you're sleeping. Because it's and the same thing with the Jews. Everyone that got the Jews had to sign a consent form.
Yeah, that's it. When we used to go to camps and all that, people lining up in droves. Every time we go to like a town or whatever, people lining up in droves around the corner, trying to get the fucking job. Where they at now? Half of the people probably dead. Man.
And they know the third, the fourth,
them boosters. Man, even Biden said he took the third booster recently, whatever.
They're on like the sixth jab now.
So many jabs.
6 jabs.
That man is just getting rich, man. The guy in the yacht.
And then even shortly after that, they said they were bringing out one for cancer, which shows you that this man is the devil, bro. And people were buying it up and down. I got what you called for earlier, Isaiah the 47th chapter, verse 1.
Okay,
come down and sit in the dust, old virgin daughter of Babylon.
Yeah, because America's never been touched, man. That dust represents confusion. America's never been touched, and that's why it's going to be so heavy. It's going to be so heavy when the American economy starts failing. These people that are in America now, they don't know hardship. I remember saying this to my cousin once when I visited in Zimbabwe 2 years ago.
my cousin, you live in London, but I was like, bro, wait, look around you. I was like, look around you, right?
There's particular things that you can do when you live out there in the States.
Yeah,
tax free. And you ain't gonna be able to do that when you're living in the city.
Exactly.
When this thing collapses, when this thing collapses, it's gonna be the banked, right? The banks that are gonna suffer the most. The unbanked, bro, there's people that are already living on $1 a day. What are you talking about the market?
Means nothing.
I gotta make do with what I got with this little patch of land that I got. Right?
That's it.
Certain Jakes out there within the islands, they just they got a little shack.
Yeah,
they don't go to work.
They don't have to.
Raven chickens.
But for these people over there, I mean, I was watching these guys, Abra and Preach, man, where basically they were interviewing these American broads at some university, and they was asking them, what does your man have to be making? They were saying, 500,000, 100,000, 3 million. Right, and reason I'm bringing that up in this context is they live such a pampered life that they think people just are casually making 500,000 pounds a year. Well, reality, but reality's coming.
Yeah. Hey, somebody get that. I can get that scripture now. Isaiah the 3rd chapter. Yeah, man, these women are going to be. It's funny because it's like, you witches, man.
These women are going to be humbled because they're the ones that really live in the la la land.
Yeah. They're the ones.
False reality, man. They feel so self-entitled. They don't realize that life is a real struggle.
Yeah.
When Jacob's trouble comes, then these women are going to be. They're going to find out that
they're going to be hurt real bad.
That ain't gonna
be your value, man. That is gonna be your value.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the only value that you have, man.
Because it's so much of it. You're gonna be like, diamond a dozen.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of these broads, the so-called pretty girls now, they think, oh shit hits the fan, I'll just go find me a man. But what he doesn't realize is that man is now got options.
And then that's why the scripture says within the book of Isaiah, the 4th chapter, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Let me get this right. With Isaiah 32:9, arise up, ye women that are at ease. Right? You see girls that have been living the so-called good life, and you've had particular things coming off of the back of Esau, right? With the programs that he pushes out there, right? With the Section 8. What we got here, welfare system, and they're already cutting down the welfare system right down in here. The benefits have gone down, right? The life of the benefit lifestyle, even if you was just a regular, say something.
No, I was going to back to and say, what you're saying one point. Because here in the UK, we have a system whereby if a woman works under 16 hours, she can still technically be with her partner, but still benefit from the benefit system and still get income. And then ultimately as well, you got it to in England. A lot of the treatments that these women get are wicked treatments that these women get are provided free off the NHS system as well. But that's what
which is fucked, because basically here it is, probably want to be as righteous as we can, but over here in the UK we are quite literally paying for abortion.
What for your taxes. For your taxes. So these women have been living a very cushy lifestyle. Even the brokers dumbest deadest bitch. Like, right, Shauna, remember Shauna? Shauna, bro. Shauna, bro. The girl was, she's a good Benjamite, right? With blonde hair, like fucking Eve blonde, not even like blonde, but Barbie blonde, bro. Through the deadest girl, she got 3 kids. The deadest girl, 3 baby daddies.
She got a hard face. That's the best way.
Bro, hard face, bro. I don't want to look at that face. That's one of them faces your dad's like, nah, man, that might not be my child. That might not be my daughter, man. We ain't got no people in my family that look like that. Anyways, the point I was trying to make was this. This is the deadest girl with 3 kids, right? Probably from 3 different baby daddies, right? And she's still surviving. Because the system's catered to making it easy for these women.
Consequence-free life.
Consequence-free life. Right? They can have.
Says they're going to lament for their teeth.
Don't read that.
They're going to start losing with benefits.
We don't read that. We don't read that. Yeah. Right? Hear the voice. Hear my voice, careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech.
That means like these women are totally selfish. They're careless. All they can care about is themselves.
Yeah.
And gimme. They're all gimme girls, man. That's why all they want to do is go out, sleep with Tom, Dick, Harry, and Sally, and then not be held accountable for none of their wicked actions, man. They'll go out and commit adultery against their husband, all of that shit.
Brother, when you
Ruining
hold
men.
these women to accountability, and I've observed this, you really have to go real easy with them because they bug out.
They bug out, bro.
Because they no, I'm telling you, they literally short circuit. Like you can have a situation where you are working with somebody, and because of their behavior, you don't really want to be them around like that. It's like they've never seen that within their life. They've never observed that within their life, where it's like, look, your actions have a consequence.
That's that. And even during that Rona, you had a lot of situations. There was a video that somebody posted. You had a daughter trying to basically make her father get the shot because basically he couldn't work his job without getting it. So and she was living in his household, so she was pressuring him and the individual saying, "Hey, you need to go get a shot so they could maintain lifestyle." But that's the woman. That's the woman. But she ain't even lost to her father. That's why the scripture says all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman.
Many days and years shall you be troubled. Ye careless women, careless. For the vintage shall fail.
Yeah, so there's no more work, no more benefit.
That happened over the CV. It was mainly women that were losing their jobs.
That was catching hell.
Because a load of
didn't they all of a sudden the man's value went up, right? All of a sudden they wanted the man, right?
Don't get me wrong, there's certain women that are quote unquote good at what they do, but a load of these companies hire women off of, oh, she looks nice. So then when
I've seen that. I've seen that.
There'll be guys, oh, it's very nice. It's because I'm in tech. And you don't get a lot of women in tech, but then you certain roles you are more disposed, like design, whatever. It's so nice to have a woman's energy. Really, you want to fuck her. Be real.
That's what I remember. A lot of the people that have positions to give jobs are weirdos, right? A lot of people that have in this country, a lot of people that have the power to give you a job are weirdos. I don't think I've ever been to a male manager in my whole life. Asked for an interview, and he was like a normal guy. Maybe one time. He's always like a weirdo type guy. So like a fit girl goes in there, or just a woman in general, they're gonna get the job. Right. So it's been real easy for you women, man.
So say affirmative action.
That's it.
But then, just like you're saying, during the whole COVID thing, where was the feminist movement then?
Yeah.
Women weren't pushing no feminism. As soon as that shit died down, now all of a sudden, women are independent and strong.
Was saying on this whole thing, when you've hired someone just because they look pretty, you might not really like what they do that much, and then you start getting into financial straits, you have to be like, look, someone's gonna go. Who's gonna go? The shit people.
The people that don't bring no value to the business, or minimal value to the business. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, careless ones, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's dealing with what? Food in that, right?
Yeah, the gathering,
the food, right? Because we know that there's going to be a food shortage coming up. So the gathering's going to fail, right? The harvest is going to stay. They've had difficult harvests over the last
couple of years,
man.
Once again, that's why I always talk about that program, Clarkson's Farm. Because he goes in, they don't know.
Paying you commission.
Oh, they might as well be. They might hold their mind. I'll tell them we've got £1 billion. Right? No, but real talk. You go, because especially the ending, and the amount of profit that he made is very spiritual. The amount of profit that he made, right, off of this thing. But it goes to show you just how fucked the food is. Here it is, like for instance, right now it's warm, right? This is the hottest October I've experienced. It's 22 degrees on the 28th or 29th or 29th of October. That is unheard of. You got the light winter jacket.
November, I remember that.
Yeah,
it's November the 5th. What? Next week, right?
Yeah.
And I remember because we grew up in England. Yeah, they had bonfire night on November the 5th, and you have to wrap up warm. Ali pali.
Yeah.
And it's so cold and that. Yeah.
But this is it. When in Clarkson Farm, they were basically speaking about that because it started around 2019 when they started filming it, and then basically they were speaking about that summer that we all enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, we're enjoying the summer, but what we're not realizing is that the harvest is getting fucked. So right now it's a warm ass October. There are certain things, there's certain seasons, certain supposed to get either reaped or sowed that they're not able to do because the weather is not right. And it's been like that
because they can't plant They can't plan like how they used to plan.
Yep.
Plan particular things in this month. And
Yep.
Brain,
Yeah,
already.
and certain things. So I'll stop here. But certain things have to be planted at a certain time.
Yeah,
So then seasons, yeah, and it was basically showing they had planted and the yield was shit.
It's also,
Yeah.
Remember back in the day when get Africa and all that, parents would go back there, West Africa, and like, get certain people. So this place can't get it.
Yeah.
For the certain pairs,
Yeah.
all that certain.
Whatever, mango.
Yeah, like, the
That's
perfect
the
pair.
kid. That's the kid's mango.
I don't know if you ever had it, but the perfect pair. Boil it in water. It's like sweet.
Ah.
After
The Nigerians keeping that hidden
Yeah.
secret from us.
You mean the gym like, yo, these Nigerians are strong, boy. You're sharing your diet, that's why. Them superfoods.
It's a superfood. Black
Yeah.
sugar cane, all that.
Yeah.
It's seasonal. You can't just get it every year, all year round.
Yeah.
So that's how it is with all the content, like shipping,
Yep.
supply chain and all that. It's seasonal, man. You only get certain crops that come out full yield certain times of the year. So if you can't get those crops in that space at that time, it's a dead season. It's a dead crop. And a lot of these there's a lot of droughts going on as well in China. All these different places where people expect like rice grains and all these different things. There's been a lot of droughts going on.
Yeah.
So that's adding to the supply food chain collapsing, man. And that's the food shortage going down the drain. All types of water have been drying up, big lakes and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's drying up around the fall into the
And
earth.
even if when a lake goes, like, let's say a lake is 10 meters high, right? And then it drops down to 8 meters, and you're thinking, yeah, it's not a crazy drought. What actually happens is, like, the salt within the water, it becomes too high.
Yeah,
The water is too saline.
Yeah, the volume of water
To the salt that's in the water. So that has all kind of problems. So if you're using that to water vegetation, you can't put salt on crops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The fish can't really survive like that because it's too salty.
A lot of even animals have been beaching themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of fish are beaching themselves. So this food supply chain thing is a heavy
quick
burden.
Real
It's
quick.
not no light thing. It's not like this one sector of food.
Yeah,
That's
and then
it's
you
affecting
go to the other one.
Yeah, it's affecting the whole supply chain.
The whole
Man.
system.
Then you got Russia holding back their trade and all that.
Most countries are starting to do that now.
China just released a thing a couple of months ago where they said they're going to start banning exports on particular goods, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
And really, when you go into it, that's war. Those are the war moves. Yeah. Those are war tactics. Yeah. Right.
Real quick, 2nd Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full stores shall be suddenly found empty.
Yeah, the
That's
gathering
worldwide.
shall fail. Yeah, the gathering shall fail. Yeah. And there was small signs of that during the CP as well, because of the fact that there was ships couldn't trade because of the cross contamination issue that they put out there. You could actually go into a Tesco when they gave people that compulsory 1 hour exercise block to booster, and you would see that like basic things like tilda rice and beans and shit was scarce, and people were bugging out, and you had Jakes that the video started peaking in views all of a sudden, and then things went back down to allow because got back into that spirit of
they had us in slavery over here.
they had a traffic light system in front of them.
Because
Where you couldn't go out for your house for what? For you have to just walk with the bro. Well, I was thinking like 6 months a day, boy.
Australia, take 5 miles
Yeah.
outside your radius. You get alerts
And
get
then
arrested.
I think when you was supposed to be quarantined and they'd bring you at random times and try to show your face in your yard.
You know what I've been thinking about that? You know this Amazon Ring door thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you brothers ever had this Amazon Ring doorbell.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. Basically, right, with the field of vision that it's got on the doorbell, I've seen it on my road. You basically can't walk without being on camera. It's like a CIA operation.
Yeah,
you can't walk. You can't walk like from one end of the street to the other end of the street without being on camera. Like it's impossible. Like, that's the whole.
And
no, not just one camera. Remember, everybody buys the doorbell. So you got the doorbell. You know what I mean? Like you go one doorbell, and like the field of vision is massive.
And that means that they now have cameras in residential areas.
And
it's once again, that's beautiful. I think I'm thinking that's actually beautiful because it's sort of like now he doesn't have to spend millions putting the cameras up.
Yeah.
You've done it for him.
Yeah.
But that's why it's one of the things I've always thought about the different social media. Each social media has a different purpose, right? The Instagram is for when you're looking flashy. The Snapchat is for when you're in like a little crazy message. But the point is, you've got images of you and both.
Yeah.
So now the systems don't only know when you look good, they know how you look when you're at your worst, right? Do predictions.
Algorithm. Yeah.
Even the majority of smartphones now have facial recognition. That's the big
You
thing.
know what's crazy about the facial recognition? I remember Elder Inap said it 10 years ago. He said they got cameras underneath the TV.
Yeah,
He said that. I was like, man, come on, man, that's crazy. And then what you got now with the new phones?
Yeah.
They got the
facial
the phone.
recognition on the phone.
You know, but you got the phone, you got the camera, the new phones that they coming out with now. They got the hidden camera underneath it, so they didn't have that.
I didn't, not only that, now is one of the things that they mastered over the CV was basically looking how your face looks in the AI with a mask on.
Yeah.
Which is why the new iOS, you can do Face ID with a mask on. So then now you consider that, right? You know, in times of insurrection, people have the baddies on, whatever.
Yeah,
right? You can only see the eyes,
already there.
but the recognition already knows.
Yeah. And that's part of what they got out there in China.
Mhm.
Yeah, they got that in China with the social credit, right? So that's important for the social credit system because the technology is already there. You link up all of these programs and everything. They all run off Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, AWS. Three companies run the internet. Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon Web Services. Well, 4. GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and then in China you've got the Alibaba system.
Right.
So you stuff Facebook.
Probably just been dropping bars all day. Weffy, FBI.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's true. Whoa.
Wow.
But this, sorry, I'm gonna just get some prefix in a sec. But one of the things, for example, a lot of these armed robbers are doing is following influencers on Instagram, right? And what they're doing is this: they're saying, okay, cool, this influencer's got this on and that on. Okay, where are they posting? Oh, they're in this location. I'm now gonna go and rob this individual. Now, if a raggedy ass dude
Can figure that out.
can figure out from those little data points what can Esau do? What is Esau able to do? And this is it, because you've got several hundred million data points, he's able to do what do you call it, a machine learning, and being like, okay, cool, if you tick this, that means you're more than likely going to do X, Y, and Z. All it is probability.
The other day you had IUIC, and he was trying to basically locate where the elders of the apostles.
Yeah.
With the camp.
Yep.
It was outside of Dunkin' Donuts or wherever something was. But they see they are out outside this location.
Yep.
You can see the red ribbons and you can see the red writing.
Yep.
Like basically exposing where they're
Yep.
their camp being a demon.
Yep.
But that's got anything to do with pushing the truth. You know, they're out there on the highways and hedges, but just like you're saying, anyone can look in the camera and just look in the backdrop and be able to locate where you are.
Well, right
Find the
now,
location.
shadows,
lights and all that.
They showed you that in the Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Because if you know what time of day it is, or what roughly, and then they can see the shadow, they can actually accurately work out where you are. The GPS coordinates.
Yeah. Woke up got an FBI.
I got this one. Yep. This is the point I want is in 3, but I might as well start from 2. This is Ezekiel 28:2. The Son of Man, say unto the Prince of Tyrus. The modern day Prince of Tyrus is Esau, man. Right? We're going to prove it in a second. Right? It says, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up. Right? Who's more proud than the Edomite? Right? You don't get more prouder than the Edomite, man. To the end now, where basically, he said that a man is now a woman, and you cannot question that. Right? You cannot question, and it's literally that what was it? That's that thing, man. 1984, where the guy says, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And he says five. He says four. He said no. He says 5 fingers. But it's like, I see 4. Look, I see a dude. It's not a woman. I see a dude.
What you're trying to make us believe.
Yeah. It says, and now I said, I am a God. I sit in this, and honestly, you also has moved like that,
Yeah.
right? You know, throughout history, you has moved and done as much as Esau has done. Because yeah, you had certain individuals that proclaimed themselves to be gods, but who has actually changed the fabric of life to try and make man into his image?
Yeah.
Right? Only Esau, man. Once again, you now have people that can wake up and be like, actually, I feel like I was born in the wrong. You've got furries. Have you brothers heard about furries? Furries, Furries. Oh man, it's hey, Babylon, bro. Basically, people that are dressing up in like a furry animal costumes, and then and that is their identity. And they're like, bro, that is.
They got a YouTube page. This guy, I sent it to you sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Think before you sleep.
Yeah.
He's got a page on there, and he was basically he was breaking it down pretty on point. He said, look, these are people that have got issues.
Yeah.
They've got serious issues. Yeah. Because the guy, basically, because he was a TV program, he was breaking down the TV program, and she's dressed up like a dog, and she wants the boyfriend to treat her like a dog, like give her snacks.
Yeah, I've seen that bitch. Yeah.
Give her doggy snacks, and then she goes whoop whoop and all that shit. And, you know, it's not
and
you know,
you
it's not
take her
sexy,
to
man.
restaurants and shit like that.
She's gonna be a dog, man.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But that's as Abraham Pritchard says, that's a sickness, which it is. But this is what this man is promoting. But this is beautiful, right? Because the apostle Raimla was speaking on you shall have nothing and be happy. And it was like, but it makes not like if you got nothing, you're gonna be unhappy. So he was saying how he can perceive that the MOTB would have certain things in there that will make people happy with it. However, the device itself doesn't need to have it. It can just manipulate it, which is what the Neuralink is able to do. With the Neuralink, it says you can look it up on yourself. The Neuralink says you will be able to control your emotions. Right? But it's controlling you, right? And that's what as we're about to read. That is, in this man's wisdom, he's been able to do all of these things. He's been able to, come up with this technology and these ideas, right? So that's one of the reasons why I've been, now once I would call it the apostle pieced that together, right? That's where now I'm thinking that's why he's pushing this whole thing on mental health, right? Because then he's gonna be like, oh, you've been struggling.
Yeah.
I got a solution.
Yeah. Saying about making you happy, thing with your emotions.
Yeah.
The lack will desensitize.
Yeah.
Like you gave the example.
Wasn't that the Luciferase as well that was supposed to take away the God? They know these things. Just like you said in Equilibrium, when they was walking on, they basically walking senseless. Like they was walking around like bots, like robots, like cyborgs, basically.
Yeah.
Like being told what to do and how to think. And they was all walking in formation, wearing the same color clothing. Like there was no self-thought no more. There was no individual thought no more.
It was pacified.
Yeah.
Subverted.
That's it.
Right. That's what Esau's trying to do. He's trying to subvert you, put you in a position of desperation, and then subvert you.
But that's why there's these prophecies and making people aware of what's about to happen so important. Because when it happens, Ezekiel 33:33, when these things come up to pass, lo, then shall it know that a prophet has been among them. There's no going back. Because, and that's the thing, because there's certain people told about, lockdowns and, Messiah's going to see not being able to, and then ultimately the MOTB, when it happens, they're going to be like, them man spoke about this.
And they had the signs as well, because Matthew 24 chapter talks about Yahushua spoke about the signs. Because that CV was a major sign. We said it during when it was going on that Jake had 2 years of paid nothing,
Free pay,
free time to learn and study, man.
Yeah.
You know, and even with that, the Lord at the end of the day in Ezekiel the 2nd chapter said to go out and push this word to take the blood off our hands, man, to keep it onto their own head, whether they choose not to accept it.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So continuing on Ezekiel 28 and 2, it says, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, and sending the seed of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not God.
Esau suffers from having a God complex, man. He's the only one that suffers from having a God complex. Out of all these nations, he always thinks that he's going to be on top. That's why even during the Daniels, when they came in the 4th beast, so it was different with all the other beasts. That's when the political parties started coming in, changed the kings from kings and monarchs to senates and all that shit. And then they got the same thing going on now. Yeah.
And which that's a powerful thing, and Esau employs that that basic fundamental.
Because you get a lot of Galilean dialectics from having governments.
Yep.
When you
Yeah,
have
that's
kings, it's all about dictatorship. Monarchs, you have the dictatorships. And when you have a monarch, ultimately, a righteous monarch is going to be way more useful than a government.
Yep.
Because why would you want people going back and forth on an idea? No. This is the way. There's no debate about it.
Yeah.
It's in the law.
Yeah.
You have to go by the laws.
And you know what? That's funny you said it in those wordings as well, because the scripture says that this is the way. Walk in.
That's it. There's no debate.
That's it.
Now, what we're going to be doing, as spoken about within the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter is, the law is one thing, but you got to apply the spirit, right? And you got to apply the spirit to every situation. That's where we're going to be kings and judges. But it ain't going to be no vote on, like when King Solomon had the situation with the 2 kids. You go to the government, and you have the fucking debate on it, and no. And you get a woman. We ain't going to be having that.
None of that.
This is the way. Walk ye in it.
Yep. But it's that illusion of control.
Yeah.
Esau understands performs a diligent search once again. Where he understands humans' desire for some level of desire of control, where they think they're in charge of a situation. That's what marketing is, right? Once again, I think about that Edward Bernays, man, it was genius. The way he got women to smoke. All he said was, don't let a man tell you can't smoke. So these bitches, I want to smoke. I'm choosing to smoke. Dumb bitches. Serpent's venom.
Even when you conquered us, you had us as a vassal state where we had leaders, but puppet leaders, like Caiaphas, and a lot of those days would have felt some sort of so-called freedom within the jurisdiction, but we still were under the Roman rule, and a lot of Jakes just wanted to stay like that forever.
Yep.
That's the Lord person at the Pharisees. He even said, when it was asking about the coin, he said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, render unto the Most High what is the Most High. They tried to trip him up in his words.
Yep.
But even he was about order. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was another man's kingdom. He was like, look, man, just render unto Caesar what is Caesar. You space unto his coin, give him what he's man. Yep. Give unto the Most High what he's going. In the kingdom, these devils going to have to pay up anyway, man. They're going to have a fucking choice. If we're going to have a monarchy, we're going to have an aristocracy, the best rulers, the best of the best rulers, man. So we're going to rule up all in the monarch, man, with kings and priests. We're going to, everything's just going to be restored back to order, man. The balance is going to be restored, man. Ain't going to be no more confusion, no more wish-washy religions, no more philosophies of the world. Everyone's going to have to come under Yahweh Shem Yahushai, law standards and judgments. And if they don't, they ain't going to receive no rain, man.
Yep. Looks like you're holding some. Verse 3, Ezekiel 28:3, behold, thou art wise than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
Or there's even an oxygenesis, which is like this thing where it's basically the incubator theory, where they birth babies outside of the womb, test tube babies. Like in 2020, they were pushing heavy the designer baby concept of just make your baby how you want it. You had so-called black women, Israelite women, trying to get blue-eyed babies, man. Because hey, man, these people can do that, man.
That's part of the vain miracle.
Yep. Hey, man, there's a technology out there, CRISPR, and this when I started reading about CRISPR, CRISPR, I forget what it stands for, but man, this shit is something else, man. Because in a documentary that I was watching on it, you had a child who had a degenerative eye disease, where he was going blind, right? But basically, they pushed in this CRISPR technology, which is basically gene editing, and he got his sight back. He got his sight back.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, that's the miracle. But it looks like it's all in a vial, isn't it? It's in a vial of liquid injected the same way as something else. So when it's something else, it's there like, yo.
Because I mean, the crazy thing is, he's gonna sell a lot of this bullshit off on the back of look how beneficial it is. But it's not like Will Smith said in the movie. He didn't write down what they could. He wrote down what they could take out, but he didn't write what they could put back in. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're putting this in and just we can get the site back here, but what else are they putting in? Or what else are they taking away? But look at the fucking fine print, man. There is an ulterior motive. Yeah. Just because it says in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, this man ain't trying to have a bunch of people on the earth, man. They've been trying to kill people.
Especially the tribes, man.
I mean, the legacy of Esau is about killing people. How is he going, when did this guy become like the good guy? When did he become the good guy? This guy has never been the good guy.
Real quick, if I can get this.
Like they go, I used to watch Smallville, right? I don't know if you brothers remember Smallville. But really, Clark Kent brought about some issues to that city, man.
Yeah, anytime he was around,
Problems. Yeah. The same thing with Esau. He puts on these dons. Get my analogy now. He dons on the savior outfit, but you create all of the problems.
Let's just kind of
Real quick, Jeremiah 13:23. Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard his spot?
So if you look at the nature of Esau, the time he was in power, the time of the Greeks weren't just like, okay, we need roads, let's pave roads so people can walk. No, these guys were killing, massacring cities, man. Killing and massacring cities. Their MO was murder, killing, death, and they got off on it, man.
What one of the main inventions in this society, because when you were saying, I was thinking about Rome, because Rome brought a lot of Rome. But ultimately, that would have been so that they could take their goods.
So they could take their army.
Exactly.
Transport the army.
It's the same thing in this kingdom, because all of the advancements start off as military advancements first.
When you got a mobile phone in your pocket, you're like, oh man, technology is just wonderful. But that all comes from weapons technology.
GPS, that was exclusively American military. That's why certain countries ended up. There was a time when they wouldn't let certain countries use GPS. It was a game changer in war. Right. But when you even look at the internet, and they started the internet,
it was for military operation.
It was DARPA, right? Which is because based the whole. If you think of a phone line, right? Let's say this brother wants to call this brother, right? But you first have to call, a while past it on brother, right? But then what they were basically saying is, if you've got that system, when one of those bits is out of action, whatever reason, what happens is you now can't do that one to the other, right? So they created a web. So then. Whatever, let's say, would you could now, instead of going one to there, you can now do this way and then over there, or you can go straight, or you can go around and this, that, and the other. The network, right? Oh, code breaking during the wars, right? And then from that, afterwards, you started getting the machines that were doing the same thing.
The Alan Turing machine, that was to decipher. They was trying to decipher codes coming in from Germany about when they was going to bomb or something like that. So that's how they had the Alan Turing machine, which was able to get the predictions down. And then that became what the computer that you have right now. But ultimately, it goes back to the CHIP, because these elites they wanted to get the people CHIPs, IBM. They wanted to get the people CHIPs. Now it goes back to what the brother was saying, which is. This ultimately, to bring it back to the scriptures, Genesis 27, chapter 37 verse says that Esau was blessed with a sword. And as the sword became the ICBM, there's all of this technology that came from that. And you gotta I think about that all the time. Because if you can make a sword, that means you can make metal vessels, right? Gates, right? The same guy that can make a sword is gonna make stuff that you're the smith, right? The smith is blowing the coals, brings the sword out, right? You're gonna be able to make vessels made of the same materials in different shapes. Same thing with the ICBM. Shield, shields. I'm talking about day-to-day useful things, right? Plates, metal plates, whatever, right? Smith, right? So now as a smith became like the scientist, right? and they become these super smart guys. We've been able to get all of these little bits in technology because it's all changed, but it all goes back onto the blessing of the sword.
It is.
It all goes back onto the blessing of the sword.
Is basically science.
Yes.
Yeah. Foundation.
Yeah. That's right.
To be able to make that science, that nuclear weapon, you have to be good at maths.
Yep.
You have to learn the foundations of science,
Yep.
biology, all that chemistry, all that shit.
Yep.
You have to know all those things, physics.
Yep.
You know, geometry, all that math shit. You have to learn all that to get even.
I was gonna say, so you can contain that energy in like a capsulized format.
That's why it's a scripture says he's wiser than Daniel.
Yeah.
He searched out all these things. He went to highs and depths to learn the science and all these things, man. The sweet science of making bombs and all that shit.
Bombs.
Now they're still coming out with a film Oppenheimer. We was in the cinema last week. They showed the trailer of Oppenheimer, man.
Oh, who's making that? Nolan.
Nolan.
Nolan making that.
I think it's Nolan, one of them guys.
Right.
Either Spielberg or one of them guys.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm still waiting for that to come out, man. That's a destructive film. That's why they're taking so long for it to be released. They know that film's going to impact a lot of people's thoughts on how this devil was able to just create a fucking bomb out of elements. Man.
When he, and the thing is, he doesn't even tell the real history on that, because basically,
you know they're going to push it out.
Because
Oppenheimer, they're going to make it look like Oppenheimer's the guy. Great bomb, save humanity.
it's one of them ones that basically it was like you got two history points on that whole dropping the bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm gonna go on the one that's more likely because I know Esau. We know the nature of Esau according to the scriptures, where basically Japan had surrendered.
Wow.
Japan had surrendered, but basically they needed to try the weapon out. They needed to.
Wow.
Right, show of force, just like Satan. And the reason why, because the thing is, then you get others out like, oh no, they handed, you know what they say? They dropped leaflets saying that they were going to drop the bombs. Bro, this man's a devil, right? But would you call it the I'm going to go with the history that basically is more akin to how Esau is, because when you watch the Panama Deception, that's the MO. Because, for instance, that's how I prove that Esau, that's how I prove that Esau never went to the moon. Because in an Edomite's nature, once he goes somewhere, he doesn't stop.
He don't stop.
He don't stop.
Yeah.
Money's not enough.
If they did that, they would have been on Jupiter by now, boy, trying to set up a military base. Claiming Russian aggression. Because of Russian aggression, we need to build a military base for Jupiter.
Exactly. Moon rock. They telling me there ain't no minerals on the rock. This nigga will be mining it already. Yeah. This nigga will be mining moon rock, man.
Benefit the heart of humanity.
Yeah.
They would do that in the movies, so you would have been doing that. Would have had flying cars and flying shit already, you know what I'm saying? They ain't had none of that, man. Elon Musk is still trying to figure out how to leave Earth, man, with his Starlink and all that.
The other one with the penis-shaped fucking spaceship, was that Musk?
No, that was the other one.
Bezos.
Yeah.
These guys that was that goes all back to Egypt as well. Yeah. The precepts? Yeah. I was reading.
When it show you that future of humanity, like especially like 2022 upwards, this is the era where, you know, like in the movie Back to the Future, there's supposed to be flying cars and shit. Yeah. You know, people are not supposed to be like, you know, flying scooters and all these different things. Like people, you know, society is supposed to be properly technologically advanced, and it is, but not to that level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they're never gonna get to that level, man.
But really, they're slowing down now. You're getting to like a max. Like there's a scientific theory that says memory, and hence technology doubles and gets half in size. But we're getting into what nano. Now. Where the point where it's not going to get any smaller.
We're at the point now where you can't physically fit any more data onto a chip anymore. No
nanos, transistors.
Yeah,
the equivalent to a transistor.
Yeah, but that's why they're working on the quantum.
Yeah. Right, because they want to say one thing they was trying to do now is they're trying to program an atom, isn't it?
DNA.
No, they're trying to program an atom.
Right. Okay. Well,
they're trying to when it comes to because basically all a computer is a difference engine, on, off, on, off, on, off. So a transistor does on, off, on, off, on, off. And then transistor became silicon, which does exactly the same thing, which is on, off, on, off, on, off. Down to the like nano, not nanoparticles, so like nanometers now. So they got a transistor now at the size of a nanometer, but they want to go smaller. So they want an atom to switch on and switch off. And if they can do that, they're gonna have nano computing, a nano chip. Not nano chip, sorry, smaller than nano, because we've already got nano chips now. That's what's in your phone. But yeah, if they're able to figure out the technology, and I think they already done it.
They do. And this is it, because what we've spoken about before, about how, like, that's what I was going to mention before. Sorry to cut you off. Was mentioned before about the Panama deception. They were talking about, they were testing out the lasers back then, right? But then they'll tell you, officially speaking, that they've only mastered lasers a few years ago.
No, they've been doing that, man.
They've been doing it.
That's the same thing that the elder said about the hidden cameras, and now you got the technology, and they'll like gradually, slowly, always getting better now. You know, the underneath the screen now, it's almost disappeared. And then the next year they bring out another phone. Now it's a little bit more disappeared, but we're gonna figure out how to. They've been having that.
They've been bringing it out every year.
Hey, because as you know, when you work in them fields, it's hard to come out and make these advances on a year, because they got like a year release stuff. You're telling me each year they're having to be
just a little bit more. No,
they've had it.
The fucking iPhone every year come out because they've had it. Now they got the iPhone with the satellite, the column satellite footage where you can
satellite
anywhere on the earth.
What?
So they got the Wi-Fi being track and trace from anywhere on the earth. The satellite.
And then they're gonna sell it like, if somebody gets lost in it in the
world. That's exactly how they said it. That's exactly how they saw it.
Nah, bro, it's like you supposed to be in lockdown, where we were.
Guys in the desert.
But that's what Musk is all about. Musk is all about, because when he put out Starlink, he said two things. He said when he bought Twitter originally, when he first bought Twitter, he said authenticate everyone. And then with Starlink, he basically said, I forget how he phrased it, but it came to the effect of there's going to be nowhere on Earth that is outside of the range.
Right. That low latency for the MOTB.
The guy Kanye West is the advocate for Elon Musk. He's big enough Elon Musk saying that he's his best friend. So you already know he's part of the agenda.
He's top. I mean, did you see?
How's a Jake, right? That's the made fucking all of the lies best friends with the goofiest man on the planet.
Did you see what he did when he walked into Twitter HQ?
Carrying a bowl.
Carrying a sink.
Yeah,
the thing is, I was like, what's good? I was like, has he taken that from somewhere? But he was apparently making a joke. Let that sink in, because he bought the sink.
I thought I was going to say, he took everything out of the kitchen sink. Yeah. I thought that would have been a bit more on point.
Yeah,
weirdo.
But which was speaker of the old brother was like, wouldn't be surprised if that was some kind of a message.
What's the message? Yeah. If it was Jake that could do something a bit more,
or
a bit more elaborate.
So what? He's bought Twitter now.
It's official. Yeah, because he's trying to
the one app, innit?
Yeah, trying to WeChat. They authenticate everyone.
It's the Second Thessalonians, so that's they're gonna be policing the internet, then, isn't it? So that makes sense. That's beautiful, because when you got the when you got this, because he's supposed to be the hero, innit?
Iron Man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fucking Iron Man. Dude, man, he done appropriated a man's name.
Yeah.
You don't ever mention that he took that Tesla name from a man that was actually a genius. Did they get money? Did they get the Tesla family get money because he's using their name? Come on, man. I think about that, man. Like, go on, sorry.
No, I'm saying he doesn't speak about Serbia, because I think he may have died childless or something like that. The Tesla.
Yeah, but he's still got family. Still got family.
Yeah, the Tesla family doesn't big up.
The name probably hasn't died off in the earth.
Yeah. Because the Tesla, would you call it that? He's done nothing for the history of Tesla.
Yep.
When people nowadays, especially dumbass Americans, they hear Tesla, they think American company, Elon Musk. They ain't no thing about, this was a Serbian immigrant who came over to the US, was fucked over by Edison.
Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
or most of the ideas that he had, they buried them. Because they was actually beneficial to humanity, but you can't make money off of it.
Green energy.
And it makes sense because you got electrons moving around all over the place. You're just tapping into that. You got a big electric thing that switches on every day. Yeah, the sun.
Yeah, the sun. Yeah.
You got a big giant thing. And one of the things somebody was saying, I think it was Elder Ariala, he was saying one of the reasons solar panels ain't really working is because you need high quality materials to make it work, and they ain't trying to invest in that. You need gold, right? Conductors. You need all kind of but then you buy spend 10 grand and put solar panels on your house, and you got 5 years worth of use.
Look in Thessalonians 2:3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first." And that man
So we have to fall away, man. Right? We have to fall away. I mean, the craziest thing about it, one of the scriptures that I read all the time now is Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. Because it tells you was going to go through the blessing, and he was going to go through the curse. Tells you was going to be scattered for the four corners of the earth, and then I was going to retrieve you. There was no two ways about this. Right? The Most High put a particular story out there, and the story was going to be fulfilled. So when Yahushua came, he put the Comforter into motion, right, to set up what the scattering in the end times to be sifted out.
Okay, that's why the scripture says in Matthew, when the Lord comes with his angels, he shall set the sheep on the one side and on the other. Then he shall call unto the sheep, "Come ye blessed of my Father, enter the kingdom that's been prepared unto you." Nations of the earth.
And it is from the foundations of the earth because it was predestined. Read the book of Deuteronomy, 30th chapter, tells you when you do X, Y, and Z, right? I'm scatter you, lose your heritage, all of that. And then I'm going to bring you back, you be gods again on the earth. Think about that. Here it is, you're making the covenant with Moses, and he's reading, you got blood sprinkled on your head, and then he reads all of these laws. He's like, yo, so we're going to be good? All right, we're going to be good. And brothers, Jake forgets that it says there's going to be a period when he was going to be bad.
But except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
And then Esau's being revealed right now. Esau's being revealed right now. He's revealing himself. Because, I mean, hey, man, since the prophets have been on the scene, man, these moves Esau's doing now, they're getting sloppy. They're getting sloppy, man. Come on, you got to do another 911, man.
Yes, bro. Saying
that was a good move. The 911. Now this dude is getting sloppy, man.
But you know what I think personally? I mean, I speak as a man.
I think stumbling.
I speak as a man, but I think he just realized these people will believe anything.
I believe that. I believe that.
Major force was like the marathon bomb.
Yep.
Because it's like when you actually deep what with the whole 9/11, there was like, oh yeah, but they knew he was from Dubai. Okay, but what about the black box?
They said the black. Also, he wasn't as good as I thought then.
Bro, it was like the black box is on planes like one of the most indestructible pieces of machinery.
They've had planes go down in the sea and they dug the black box out to try to figure out what went on.
Yeah,
like a tank there.
Yeah, because you got people flying all the time. If something is fundamentally wrong, you need to know that shit.
Yeah.
That didn't survive, but a little piece of plastic and paper survived.
So hold on a minute. He was trying to say that the guys. Oh boy, I suppose you have to get on the plane.
Would you, bro? It's mad. Here it is aviation. Here it is jet fuel melts steel beams, but it doesn't melt fast. And then when you ask them about building 7, oh no, that had been on fire for several days, so why was the outside looking perfectly fine? But after that, Esau realized he doesn't need to go that hard.
Yeah.
I speak as a man. I
believe that. I believe that. Because the C-19 was sloppy.
Yeah.
That was sloppy.
Sloppy results.
Matt Hancock, that speech when he said something about my auntie's cousin.
Oh yeah, yeah. But even now, with all the information coming out on just how dangerous that juice is, if I also go into what part it's actually happening. So John Hopkins University.
That's little boy.
So this university is the one that everyone used to keep basically getting information from America about in terms of their CVS and whatever, what have you, right? But basically, two economists, which they've tried to distance themselves from these economists, basically did the study and basically said lockdown saved 0.2% more lives. Basically, if they never locked down, it will be 0.02%. I raised this and I quoted John Hopkins University. Bro, they couldn't do it. Their mind short-circuited. Their mind short-circuited. It was like, I don't listen to John Hopkins University. It's like, bro, you've been listening to them directly or indirectly for the last 2 years.
Hey, that goes. Sweden was like neutral grounds.
Yep.
They didn't have no mortality rate. Zero fucking casualties.
Yep.
Zero COVID infections. None of that. They had a free society. Everyone was chipped up. You get me? Everyone's escaping that. You know, doesn't want to talk about that. But the whole 2 years, people was living good in Sweden. No restrictions, nothing.
Yeah.
Everyone else around the phone was up.
The amount of variants that came out that they went well, like
Omicron and this one and
Mario
Yep. Oh, yeah, they now even tried to recently try to say there was a new variant for the winter.
Yep.
No one's fully for the jig no more. It's kind of like played out. Like you said, they're getting sloppy. Esau's getting sloppy. That's why he's gonna fuck up in the end. Because you get sloppy and he starts going to stupid to desperate measures. And then starts doesn't know how to clean up after himself properly. Starts making big major mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got false leaders.
Kanye West thing.
Yeah, Kanye West is sloppy. And then you got to do damage control and it's still sloppy. Then you got false leaders like Biden and all that. You know, guys that really ain't all the way there. You know, like just make it look even more sloppy. Like says Esau's on his way out. These are the straits that the law was talking about. That was going to be in straight.
That's cool. Who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Hey, I've got this one quote I just wanted to bring out real quick, man. One of the natives, from the Northern Kingdom, one of the Gadites, he said, when the last tree is cut down, the last river, the last fish caught, then only will the white man discover that he cannot eat money. Yeah. And that's
it.
And that's the truth.
Yeah, like he does death, it cannot be
satisfied, man.
That's why ultimately he's going to destroy himself. Literally through World War III, going to be Edomites.
against
Edomites, destroying himself. They're just the masters of destruction.
Right? And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, Lord will be the men who's gonna be on the sideline with a bowl of popcorn, man.
Everyone knows this man's the devil. Bobby shot his one and it says, where white man went wrong. When white man find land, Indians running it. No taxes, no debts. Plenty buffalo, plenty beaver, clean water. Women did all the work. Medicine man free. Indian man spent all day hunting and fishing and all night having sex. Only the white man dumb enough to think he could improve system like that.
That's it. When you go into that, what they did on the Native Americans, man, that's on the Buffalo front. Because Buffalo was the epicenter of their culture. Everything ran through the Buffalo. Colds, everything. Housing, because the tents, they made the tents out of the Buffalo. Everything ran through the Buffalo. So when you see them pictures about the Buffalo heads, that was a whole the epicenter of their culture. Yeah. And just
it's in this man has no regard because it mentioned their beaver, right? And beavers are actually
beavers are the native builders.
Yep, it's their in terms of I forgot the way the guy phrased it, but it said in terms of animal, because obviously they class man as an animal. It was like in terms of animals that actually affect the landscape, it's humans and then beavers, right? And then what?
They can change river courses,
and they need to.
Right.
They need to. So basically, when they started reintroducing beavers back into there, the fact that they're building their dams basically stops flooding and controls away floods. Same thing with mangroves, right? Because they show you just what mangroves do to flood waters. So here it is, Esau saying it's global warming, but now you fucked up the whole ecosystem, right?
Beaver skin is supposed to be good for hats or something like that. for clothing. And I can't remember. Is it badgers? I'm thinking of badgers. Badgers. Yeah. Badgers. Because the scripture speaks about badger skin. Right. Scripture speaks about badger skin. You had a badger skin coats. That's probably very warm and waterproof.
Yeah, man, Esau is the master of disaster. He loves to fuck up the ecosystem. Why? Because he's against nature. Going back to his forefather Cain, he was cursed from the face of the earth, man. Esau's against nature, the sun's against him, everything's against him. Nature, the animals, humans, they're against this devil, man. Now the earth is getting tired of this devil. That's why Yahweh Shai is coming to get rid of this. Well, he's the beast man, you know, that needs to be shunned from society. Where the beast man, that's what we saw here. They didn't put that in Planet of the Apes for no reason, man.
This is
Isaiah 24.
yeah, I was gonna get that as well. I was gonna get because start speaking about where is it? I know it's Isaiah 13 or 14. It says yeah, the cedars 14 yeah right, yeah, it was all the way up there, so this is Isaiah 14. I'm gonna start from 6. So it says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
That's this cave monkey Esau Edom, man. Not too long ago, he was in the fucking cave, grunting, man.
You
On
know,
all fours, like a damn wild animal.
you know what I think about that when I consider that Esau created an entire scientific doctrine to hide the fact that he was in the caves a couple hundred years ago.
He's embarrassed of his heritage.
Yeah, he's trying to say we evolved from monkey.
Yeah.
He was that
What's the point?
cave monkey, man.
When they got the beast stuff, the caveman, beast man type thing with the evolution thing. There's only one nation of people that you see documented as being the caveman. Yeah, as you.
You're right. He built a whole scientific theory of falsehoods based on he was the caveman in the cave.
Yeah.
Trying to say that everyone was in the cave. No, we weren't. Everyone wasn't in the cave. We were in the cave. Everyone, no, we don't come from no damn monkey, man. He was acting like a monkey. So you evolved into what you are now. That was basically your demonstration of you. You was like the cave monkey, you know, grunting on all fours. And after a while, you evolved in society and you became the suit and tie man that you are now.
Among the bushes, right?
Violent in the earth.
He was terrible on a suit as well, man. Esau's the only people that look terrible.
See King Charles when he was, when he was a black suit. You know what I'm saying? He was terrible. Yeah, demons, man.
Esau's
flavorless.
You're flavorless.
Jake.
Imagine Jake getting coronated.
He's coming out with
the Kente top shirt, boy.
Top of bling, on top of bling. You know, the car, the horse, the chariot's going to be like fucking have spoilers on it, like spinning rims and shit, playing some kind of music in the background. You know, Jake going through the most, bro.
Oh, but you know what it is? So there was the coronation song, Zadok the priest, right? Which that's what they use for the Champions League, right? When you hear the pomp and the greatness of that song, like it gets everyone like you brothers.
Yeah,
because we're football. Me and this bro are into football, innit? So that Champions League theme, you know what it's like. You're like, yo.
So they know like the music. A brother time ago did the video on the vibrations where with the water in your body and the molecules and how it tightens you up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Zadok the priest. Listen to that shit, man. That's some good shit. But that was Jake. That was composed several hundred years ago, man.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Zadok the priest.
Right. Queen's got another song similar to.
Yeah.
They use the same kind of like
arrangement. So you know, Champions League. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. You saw. He's flavorless, man. They ain't got no flavor. None of that shit, man.
Even like weddings are like the worst weddings you can go to, man.
Dead, man.
Food is whack. It's not atmosphere. Auntie ain't crying in the corner.
Sitting there for hours. Fuck all.
even with these sports, on the topic of sports, like a lot of these nations that have won these domestic cups, and Esau's records is like the Frances and Portugals, but it's actually a bunch of Jakes. They're immigrants. The whole French team, even Griezmann, who looks like a so-called white boy, it's a Jake. You had the Edomites were actually on the bench reserves. Like you had Jakes playing for the whole tournament, man. You know?
Yep. Oh, because they joked about that.
Yeah.
It was like Africa won the World Cup.
Honestly,
And they didn't like that. They didn't like it.
Every year, man.
And
Or
when
if
you look
it's
at
the Latin tribes.
so that's what that made me think as well. Even when you look at something like the Premier League, when you look at historically at all the teams that have won it, it's always been predominantly Jake teams that have won it. Every team.
Boxing, MMA.
Yeah, when you had like that Arsenal team that did that 49 games undefeated, it was all just about Jakes, African, so-called African Jakes. Like, you know, the moment they started leaving, they started getting Edomites put up in that team. They started.
I can't really think of one great. Well, Tyson Fury, but who else? You can see he's a great.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, they don't like him.
Yeah,
They don't like him.
because he's a Jake.
Too raw.
Yeah,
Too
yeah,
raw.
because that's the Jake thing.
What did
That
he say?
comes from our father.
Yeah.
How about him outside,
That's
man?
right.
The Most High said, "I and only I."
Yeah.
Any man that comes from his mother's womb.
Yeah. Okay. What do you say? The only place for a woman is on her back. And the thing is worse, this is it. They got on him, right? But his woman was like, "Yeah, I'm down with that." It's yeah.
Why would you complain, man? The guy's a millionaire.
Yep. Because they,
That's like gay ass Edomite vibration that they push out there for the world, man.
happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life, man. But no, happy man, happy home.
Yeah.
Was there happy husband, happy
Well,
home?
happy home, happy home. French for man.
Right. Oh, yeah, oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, man. We're gonna turn back onto the ruling class, man. The Most High, where the scripture says, "You're turning up things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." The Most High is gonna turn everything right side up. You see, everybody's all here it is, it's all feminism, but most of these women is depressed.
They're hella on that.
I need to press.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Depressing thing, right? I don't think I've dated a girl in recent years that's not depressing.
Yeah, all Thursday.
All fair.
Some mental illness.
Yeah. Real talk. But because
Unless she's like conservative and she's like into the back home things. Because the thing is, with a man, right, when you're working with your hands, building something, like how we're here, right? After we leave camp, we're going to be on a psychological high. Because it's a very manly thing to do. Like if you use something in its proper use, it's going to yield fruit. It's going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
That's why these women are depressed as hell. Because they ain't in their natural environment.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, go on.
So, hey, I don't know if you ever, but don't curse me out. I don't know if you ever watched the film Minions.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's funny.
I told them.
No, that was but it touches on that, right? Because
Right.
when the Minions at the beginning of the flick, when they didn't have anyone to rule over them, they were depressed. They were like, look, man, this ain't right. They were no longer, happy. They were just like playing all hella depressed, right? But then, what you call it? One of them was like, nah, man, fuck this, man. We need to go and find us a leader. Which, funnily enough, is kind of what's happening right now to certain of these women. They're like, man, feminism failed us.
Yep.
I don't want this shit no more. I want someone to rule over me.
And that's
Right.
They know they're the weak professor.
That's it. This is Isaiah 29:16. It says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Right? So basically, the way Esau has turned everything upside down shall be, esteemed, with this analogy, right? It says, for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding. Right? Basically, how can a chair that you've made come and basically tell you, "Now you made me wrong," right? And that's basically what Esau is trying to do. He's trying to encourage
that God complex.
that God complex, making people think that they have dominion over themselves when they don't. Right? The Most High has complete dominion over everything. No such thing. Sirach 18:3. Yeah.
In the beginning, those 7,000 years, 7 days, everything that was created was created in perfection.
Yeah.
and you saw right history.
Yeah.
You going to do is put yourself by the eye of the Lord, which you've already done. Now the Lord's coming for your eyes. Oh, sure, it's coming very soon. So you're going to put everything back this original
Right.
state of order, man. Back in order. Put the devils underneath our foot. So
So-
also you're gonna make this you're gonna make it right?
It's an error in the earth what's happening at the moment, man. So was it Ecclesiastes 7?
Yeah. I've
Well,
seen a
10
new
and
thing in the
7.
world. Yeah. I've seen a new thing in the world. What? This funky motherfucker.
Yes,
What,
7
this
upon
guy?
horses. Yeah, it's an error in the world. Like even Esau kind of like, yo, I shouldn't be here. Yeah. 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 And then the main character in the film is just walking through like everything's changed.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Different genre.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of the Quinton time.
Yeah.
This is Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and laws, and shall be given into his hand until a time divided.
Yeah, that goes into the time of slavery. Around 1970, 350 years. Time and dividing the times coming to the end of that now. So our punishment has been accomplished. And once you say that, rejoice, O Eden, because our punishment has been accomplished. But now you got to drink the dregs of that cup.
Yeah.
You got to go through what we went through.
Yeah.
You got to go on them cargo slave ships.
Yeah.
You got to get your ass whipped and lashed. The women are going to get draped.
Yeah.
Your kids are going into slavery.
Yeah,
They're going to get beaten and thrown against the stone.
Yeah.
They're going to get fucked up. It's your turn, man. Jeremiah 49 tells you, man.
Because it's written within the scriptures, and that the curses that were once upon us are then going to be put upon our enemies.
It's like I believe them curses are like a spirit.
Heavy spirit.
That's
Bro.
like a spirit,
burden.
and that's can't be taken from the earth. It's
Wow.
got to be applied to something. When we're not in
Generational as
captivity,
well.
yeah. We're not when we're out of captivity and the Lord liberates us. That spirit's gonna be in the earth. It's gonna dwell on somebody. It's gonna do something. It's like the wind. How you gonna remove the wind from the earth? It's not from sky. So too, it's slavery. Somebody's gonna be slavery at any given time.
Those curses are going to follow you, devils, man. Until the 1000th day, when we have to burn your asses up.
That's right.
The curses are going to follow you, man. It ain't going to get it's not going to get any easier as the years go on, man. Like, it's just going to get continually worse.
The Apostle Paul made that statement about, hey, first day the Lord will have to bring an Edomites out of space.
Yeah, because we're going to murder. We're going to kill a lot of you, man. We're going to get our skill, man. We're going to excel.
And even just that, even that, just what you just said about the spiritual power. How are we gonna do that? How are we gonna take them spaceships that they have out there and bring them back down to the earth? How are we gonna do it? That's what I'm saying. But how are you gonna do it? Just like visualize. How are we gonna do it? You gonna be standing on a mountain, pulling down a fucking
Magneto.
down Magneto style?
Charles always wanted to build bridges, that kind of. But even what you said, it says in Sirach 33 that there's good is set against evil, life against death. Look at all the creations of the Most High, and there's balance.
Yeah.
Even Esau was needed for these last days, right?
Yeah.
You know.
That Apostle Paul always quotes that we had to learn wickedness to appreciate righteousness.
But as we've been saying, balance is going to be restored. And the righteous is going to be put back on top, which is Jacob. The rightful rulers, the true guardians of the galaxy. And so the Israelites. And then the ones that are supposed to be in slavery, they're on horseback right now. There's Esau, Edom, servants riding upon horses. They're going back into slavery where they're supposed to be, man. And everything's going to go, after that happens, everything's going to go back to where it was supposed to be. Everything's going to be beautiful, man. The trees are going to be rejoicing.
The sellers of Lebanon shall rejoice.
Oh yeah, that's
when
what I told
that all cut down. It's saying no fellas come up against us.
Okay. So is there 13 from the top? 14 from the top. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob. It's a brother. Someone ring the brother. So for the Lord will have. That's actually. Hey, for the Lord will have mercy on who? On Jacob, and will yet choose Israel
You're going to choose Israel, vocab.
Yeah.
And 144,000 are Israelites. No, they ain't the other nations. You're trying to put yourself in there. But you ain't got no covenant with the Lord. The Lord didn't make no covenant with the heathen. You heathens are not part of the covenant of Yasha Allah, man. You ain't got the promises of the kingdom of heaven. So how are you gonna be saved? How are you gonna be delivered? Yeah, come. How are you gonna be delivered, man? You're going into slavery, man. Under those people. We'll build our kingdom just like we built yours.
And if I can say one of the things I've always found beautiful is in the kingdom, we're gonna have power to just teleport them from one place to another.
Want to,
But we're not.
We make it harder. Do the old slavery stuff. Yeah. Have them on auction blocks and all of that.
And you know, you get them reenactments where basically, you know, that you go to a little place, it'll be this is how they used to live in this time. That's what we're gonna do.
They did that to us. So
Yeah.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
The fight of Hannibal and all that. The Colosseum. They're playing it out. You know, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna reenact. You know, we're gonna have games and shit and reenact how we took the devils out. And we can make it more exciting, like virtual and all that. We're gonna have spiritual powers. We're gonna have to say, actually in the actual movie itself.
That's
see a man getting blown up.
Yeah, but we probably don't do that, bro. Though they
Yeah,
gonna be the props for it. We're gonna make that.
You know, because you go to the cinema, they got the 3D.
Yeah.
Glasses
We're
on.
gonna have the
Can't even see nothing. 3D.
the 7D boy.
We're
We're
gonna have- Yeah, some next week.
Yeah.
now for the reenactment.
That's it. Yeah, man. It's beautiful because
the most I did it in the ancient world.
Yeah.
With John.
Well, the apostles,
The
prophets, when they see visions, it was actually in there. Yeah.
Well, he took him. Well, the most eyes outside of time. He just took him out of time.
Like a simulation, isn't it?
Back in there, yeah.
We can do that. They don't Babylon, deck the great one, destroying with missiles, and all that, man. And we saw crying. We're just there celebrating, drinking. All that.
Hey, every year we're gonna do that.
Every
year we're gonna do that.
oh, let me grab
Every
that.
year
Let me
we're
grab
gonna
that. This is Jeremiah.
No. I was thinking that when the Lord transported Habakkuk, Daniel, when I was on that.
Jeremiah 16. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said that the Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out the land of Egypt. When you read throughout the scripture, whenever Israel would encounter our enemies, you know, but you know, the Lord that brought you out of Egypt, read the scripture, that's a phrase that is used all the time, right? Yahweh power that brought you out of Egypt, right? But now, what does it say? It says
a great salvation.
it was a great salvation. You know, Rahab, she was hurt. She was like, yo, man, we heard how the Lord came and saved you in Egypt. I don't want that smoke. Yeah, exactly. This time they're going to witness, right? It says, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Where's the land of the north? The north country.
Yeah.
America, man. That's America, Babylon the Great. That's going to be the greatest deliverance, second Exodus of the children of Israel. That's why we have to be alive and living right now. We have to be in the land of America. It's north, south, and central.
Yep.
That's why Ye's speaking about the children of Israel now. That vibration on the earth of the true children of man, not these small hat rats, man. Small hat rats, bro.
Yep. And from all
He probably said it back. He's like, no, that's cool, man. I like that. I like that. I didn't realize how cool that was.
Yep. Says, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, right? Going to show you that Israel scattered, man.
Those are the Gentiles, man. Right? Those damn heathens, man.
Yep.
Okay, I'm always trying to win the way in there to talk about the Israelites, the heathen Gentiles. No, they're not, man. The Israelites, Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners in a heathen state of mind, man. Just like we was. We wasn't always calling ourselves Israelite 10, 15 years ago. We was still in the world, man. We didn't know who the arse from the hole in the wall, man. We didn't even know who he was. We thought it was West African, Caribbean, and all that, you know, smoking weed, doing nigger shit, man.
Going to church.
In the world, going university, all these things. We just thought we was of the world, but always something in the back of my mind always did sit right. Like something was always wrong. It felt like Neo in the Matrix, man. Something was wrong. Like we used to put your finger on it. Now we know what the finger putting on it is. Is that we didn't have this truth. Now we know where it is. We didn't have this truth, man. Now we find out that we're the holy people of the Lord. We're the greatest people on the nation of the earth. This book is our book. That was what was missing from us.
And we made these scriptures give clarity.
Yeah.
Right, because outside these scriptures, people are just in confusion.
You know,
Right.
before man came into the street, we didn't really read the scriptures. We were obviously do certain things. Yeah. It didn't really, yeah. It didn't,
we was raised to read the scriptures and try to memorize
It's a
just
novel.
random
Yeah,
verses.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Now we have situations and it's like that's what that piece is for.
look at it with spiritual eye.
That's it.
That's Isaiah 28, man. You learn how to, precept must be upon precept.
Uh-huh,
Man, carry a little and there.
Yeah.
But then you realize as well, like a lot of all of the ancient prophets until the new were speaking about pretty much the same synergy of events, just different perspectives.
Great work. Holy Spirit, understand, read the Bible back to back, front to back. You ain't gonna get the understanding. That's why guys like vocab, he's a natural man. Even anyway, he ain't never gonna understand what the scriptures are talking about.
Yeah.
The salvation is not for the other nations, man.
Bro, because even on that, about back to back, we may have read the scriptures.
Yeah.
And it's Matthew 1:1, the book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
That's another topic within itself.
Why is he the son of David?
Yeah. That's another topic right there.
Why is he the son of
And you
Isaac?
look at the life of
You
God.
have to go through different, you have to go reincarnation, you have to go through this, that, and the other, like genealogy. There's so many things you can get from that one verse.
Bro.
Man's like vocab alone can't understand reincarnation. Because he's the devil, man.
And even with the word means in itself, back in the flesh, like
Exactly. Everything's reincarnated. Plants are reincarnated. Animals are reincarnated. The fuck, man? Seasons, exactly. When a tree dies, the leaves, it looks dead. Then the next season, that's reincarnation, man.
Like all the cycle on repeat.
Exactly.
It's an
Everything-
algorithm. It's a
So
program.
even the Lion King, they talk about the cycle of life.
Cycle of life, yeah.
The cycle of life is the cycle of the, things that grow and all that,
Everything that you see within nature.
Organism, any living organism is reincarnated.
Everything that you see in nature basically is like a circle thing. It's like,
Yeah, it's a cycle.
that's
Even when you step on it, I don't know, an example of a worm. Little worms, and you step on it, cut it, it'll still grow back. It'll just grow back like even longer. Yeah. Remember when you see them worms anymore, but even when you cut the worm, then it will grow back, it will start bleeding, and it will just grow back. Reincarnation, man. Everything.
even like things like water. When you take water, you heat it up, it evaporates, condenses, it comes back down.
They'll tell you in science, right, that thermodynamics, right? Energy is never destroyed. It just transforms. It reincarnates. Heat becomes sound.
Yeah, vibration.
Light.
All of that, man. Lord made everything in its perfection, man. He's not trying to limit the Lord's, powers.
But these sound the Lord made physics. Because you know what I was reading, I kind of wanted to, if it didn't ended up not doing it, but I was thinking about the rainbow. The fact that Ether will tell you a rainbow comes when light passes through waters at such an angle. That was like, right, the Lord actually made the whole physics for that to happen.
Oh, it was Jesus that happened.
Exactly.
And then one day he said, "This is what I want to happen."
You know. Hey, the Lord is out there, man. He's beyond our. Hey, my that's
My
what I said.
ways are higher than
Yeah.
yours. My ways are higher than yours.
The heavens are not alone. All the different galaxies and stars. Come on, man. That didn't just pop out of nowhere. That's a higher being that made it.
No, it's okay, man. What the fuck is Daniel, man? Daniel's 2:20 when the cave in the best so the moment Yahweh because set up kings, bring it down, establish the kingdom, set it break it down. Wisdom and all that. Wisdom and might are his.
Okay, so back in Isaiah 14 and 1. Right, so for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So the Lord is going to do it, right? Not Boeing 747. It says, and the strangers shall be joined with them, Israelite foreigners. It says, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
And we read on that as well. We read about Antiochus Epiphanes, and that wasn't the only time that happened, where Israelites started teaching their children to follow the ways of the heathen and actually gave themselves citizenship. But the difference between citizenship and your nationality as well. You had the Apostle Paul himself saying, I'm a Roman, but he was referring to his citizenship, whereas his nationality was a Benjamite, man, of the seed of Israel.
Yeah, you know, because they knew he wasn't an Edomite.
Yeah. So you had people that were Galatian citizens, were Philippian citizens, Thessalonians, etc., but they were Israelites, man.
Yeah.
With the different lands that they even scattered in. It's not a hard thing to understand.
Yeah, especially now when we all have passports. Exactly. And these people can't see what is happening now and apply it back then. Just like how now JP moving continents for bitches, right? Popping them, and then their grandchild looks hella different, man.
Yeah.
Right? Who is that basketball player, man? Basketball player, Griffin, right? Blake Griffin. His son looks like a straight up white boy, but look at his granddaddy. Granddaddy's black as hell, man. Right? But
I was telling you that story about that guy, man. From Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Funky as hell, but I seen that. Because I thought maybe he's just a goofy dude. No, so I thought he was a heathen a long time ago, but Spirit just said, go look after. He got a heart attack. Right? Go look after him, right? And then one day, he kind of quit. His health kind of messed him up. One day he brought out his pictures. He's saying, "Look, this was me when I was younger." I seen Dr. J, bro, with a big afro, holding some weird colored baby. Yeah. That's my dad.
Yeah. Verse 2.
His name's Israel as well. He got Judah. He got lions all over his house, man. Big Judah.
Yep. Says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, the servants and handmaids, and they shall call them captives, shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Slavery is awful, man, in the eyes of so we have to go through it. Our enemies are going to go through it. So slavery is legal in the eyes.
It's not only legal. It's what's the one when it's promoted? Right, because that's as the Apostle Tahar broke down about being blessed, whereas there are people serving you, man.
Yeah,
right. Just like
that's even in our law.
Yeah,
we're allowed to have service.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I forgot who was telling the story. I forget. Who said it. Well, apparently, like you had this guy Charles, right? Right. He dropped a pen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he dropped a pen. Called someone from downstairs. To be fair, your parents used to do that shit. Can you get me the remote? The remote is there. But that's that power that they had over us, and that's the power that Charles had over his servants.
Matthew, I'm calling you Matthew. Come here.
Right? Yeah. But they wanted to feel that power. But in the kingdom, gonna be like that. You gonna have these servants, and you gonna wake up, gonna have it. And that's how certain of these Edomites live. They get waited on from night and day. And that's why you see certain of them. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
The scripture says they're not in trouble with other men.
Yeah.
In the kingdom, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Like no other man. Like no other man, because
their time to because after this,
because we had when King David was in power, we had them Edomites hurt, but that was a spiritual power on a small level. But in the kingdom, we're gonna have ultimate spiritual power.
The weakest amongst us is King David.
It was all going to be like King David in the kingdom, man. Raw, rugged, and righteous, man.
Man. One thing to look at it from the challenge here. How you can put a quick pain on someone with spiritual power. You can literally, Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You can have them on the wall, just like you know how they had Gamora, and you see Gamora one angle, not Gamora, Nebula in Endgame.
Oh,
And you see,
okay,
you see
yeah,
from one piece on one angle, and you see another angle. She's just like,
yeah. Thanos.
That's for meditation.
oh, when Doctor Strange, he had the pins on him. We could do that. You have a person come say, bring this guy over, lift him up into the air, and create those things that they have. You know, Doctor Strange have those pins, and the acupuncture thing, man. We could do that.
How you
Fun.
feel, bro?
But and we're saying, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Yeah, our primary oppressor was the Edomite, but all you nations are gonna feel it because Scripture says in Psalms 83, right, that basically they have consulted together with one consent, where they came together. They're all happy that we're at the bottom right now, right?
We're gonna rejoice when they're there, but
Yeah,
they rejoice over our downfall. We're gonna rejoice over yours, man.
yeah,
We're gonna be upset when we get changed the kingdom. We're gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I know Jake's out of their minds now, they can't see it. They're short sighted, but
Yeah.
we're, you know, men of the elect,
Yeah.
they're gonna be fucking happy
Yeah.
to put the devils in chains.
and those Jakes that you're referring to are drunk, right, off of Esau's philosophy, and this is it because Esau was Esau, they say do there's that saying about America, do as I say, not as I do, right? Because basically Esau doesn't believe in forgive and forget.
No, I don't. Yeah, every year we're gonna remember about the hollow thing.
Yeah, about 9/11.
Yep.
You
Like,
know?
every time that Edomite gets, gets struck down by a Jake, man, they be putting that, man. They go hard on it.
Yeah. So it says, verse 3 it says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrows, right, and sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Ain't that something to look forward to, Jake, man?
Final rest.
Yeah, just chilled, everything's just good. Yeah,
We ain't got our own land right
peace.
in our land right now and having in our land.
Yeah.
We ain't got no claim to nothing right
Yeah.
now. That's why we haven't got our own economy.
Yeah, because it was meant. I remember I was doing a video with the brother Shakar, and he was touching on that piece. Yo, and the king is peace, right? Just peace and soundness of mind. Like no, whereas in this, no worries in this kingdom. Hey, that's what one of the curses is. A curse be when thou goest out, curse be when thou
In the
comest.
morning thou shalt say, I wish it were even.
Yeah. Right? Which then it says in the Psalms, right? For instance, all brothers over there in Americas, man, valley of the shadow of death, right? You get certain places, sending your child to school, you don't know whether they're gonna get hit in a drive-by, man, right?
Drive by, what else could happen? Hit the train.
Yep.
Some weirdo person run up on your children.
That's it.
Dump
That's
your
it.
children before
Yeah.
Yeah. They could come and go to school. Probably a shadow of death. You go to school and get the stab the child.
Yeah. Because in Canada,
You didn't
right?
have to ask consent, right?
No. Yeah, there's a couple of places where they didn't have to ask parental consent. But in Canada, I believe it's Canada, they're passing a law that will allow, I don't know what age, but they said children to request euthanasia without parental consent.
Wow. So that fits in with the Psalms 83 agenda.
Yeah.
Take Israel away from the earth. Wow.
And what have we found out of this whole a Decepticon agenda? That if you let a child
Make a decision.
they
make the right decision, are they? That's why they call the child not an adult.
exactly.
That's why you need parental consent, because you haven't been formed of years.
Yeah. And
That's not going to work out good for you, is it?
That's it. And that's why you need manly men, right, to be in a household, because you get a much longer. You're gonna have a whole generation where, for instance, there are certain things in that puberty, certain things happen. The man develops Adam's apple, his body starts changing a little bit more. We're gonna fills out a bit more. We're gonna get to a point in a few years, if we were to stay here, where you legit won't be able to tell.
But when you look at, going back onto what I was saying earlier, when you look at the agenda that they was trying to push years ago, they wanted everybody to be wanted everybody to be like third level Mason, and they wanted everybody to be like a hermaphrodite. When you look at their gods, Baphomet, Baphomet is a hermaphrodite.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. As it is done in heaven, so shall it be done on earth, right? So we walk after the image of the Yahweh Shema Shai, beard on your face, garment, all that. Yeah. Man was made in an image. Yeah. And color. So they got their gods. They want you to look like their gods.
Yep. Verse 4 says, "Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
So that might that they had over the nations, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to break that.
Oh yeah, it's waning.
The Most High is going to, Yahweh Shai is going to give it the ultimate break. Yeah. Hey, one of the things that he used to be able to do, like you had this one, Will and Kate, they was going overseas, and they're like, no, don't go over here. We don't want you here. Yeah. I mean, it was in the islands, and they're supposed to have this royal receival within the Commonwealth countries, and they're like, get the hell out, we did, man. Which you know about your history, man.
That's it. We always say a lot of people are basically being like, which fuck the Queen anyway. People are like, yo, we like the Queen, but who the fuck is this Charles guy? Like they're basically at the point where they're like, now they're completely done with the royal family, with the monarchy. That's why they were saying a lot of Commonwealth countries before her death were kind of like, not really feeling this anymore. But now that she's dead, right? Because obviously they saw was a little old lady, right? They didn't see her fangs, but she used to drink children's blood, right? But they was
that's how she stayed senile for so long.
Yep,
that was part of the ritual, because that's what they said. You say young if you do that. That's part of it. That's why they drink blood to stay youthful. Yeah. I'm not telling you to do that. That's demonic. I'm saying that on the left hand side, that's what you do.
Yeah, but that's in the Lord. For the blood is the life there. Yeah.
Yeah, on the left hand side. Sorry, on the left hand side, that's how they so called stay useful. I mean, she was 99. Yeah. 96. Yeah. So them spells were working, right? Yeah.
Yep. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. Because this is it. All these heathen nations, man. Right now, they're which could, you know what they are? They're just groupies. They're trying to see who to follow. Right? Who could? And ultimately, this story is about Jacob and Esau. These are the two main characters, right? But right now, they're all in bed with Esau, right? They're getting all the crumbs and all of that, right? But in the kingdom, they're gonna be like, yo, man, you fucked up, and it's your fault, bro. We're in this predicament because of you. Right? Everyone is going to remember all of the things that you did. No one's going to come today, because this is it as well with these heathen nations. When you really stop and deep, this man dropped an atomic weapon that killed 100,000 people plus. Obviously, whenever you get numbers from Esau, normally you have to add an extra 0 or 2 after it, right? But for the loaves, he literally did it for the loaves. Well, obviously the spirit had it happen to propel him into that position, that world dominant, because the world was in awe of that. They were like, yo, shit.
So you make it fire to come down from heaven.
Oh, yeah. Power.
Hey, but that makes sense, right? Like the village. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon say, "Thou down, no fella is against us."
Paradise. Go back to that harmful synergy, you know. If we go back to that harmonious energy and all that. Right. It's like we're under a wicked vibration now. It's gonna be a total flip around when the Lord comes back, man. That's why you have to wait for Shiloh to come. He's the Prince of Peace. When he returns, it's gonna be peace to his people. Hell unto the other nation. That's what we're waiting for. We're heralding the way of Yahweh Shai, as we said at the start. We're here to be ambassadors of the Lord, man. We want our Savior to come back, make that grand entrance, man. He's gonna make that grand entrance sooner than you people think, man. We're at the doors, man. These are the signs that the Lord's left for us to see, the tokens that we're in the time of His second return. So He's coming. Can't give up hope. Brothers next week, man. Keep the faith, man. Keep fighting the good fight. Anyway, give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Makakash, double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, Barakatam, blessings of the hope, say elect, man. Shalom. God,